Prologue. And this should be the last of it. I huffed as I unpacked the last box. Moving to a new place in an unfamiliar area by myself is nerve-wracking yet exciting at the same time. Finally, some sweet independence. I set down the last of my plushies on the bed. I consider myself a normal person, just a woman starting university and having worries about whether I would be able to get along with my peers, thinking about getting a part-time job to provide for my hobbies. I look proudly at my collection of various figurines. Rubbing my chin, I nod my head in satisfaction. Stretching, I get up to take a long, hot shower. God, I need more exercise. Stepping back into my room, I heard the sound of my phone ringing from bed. It's Dad. I answered, "Hey Dad. What's up?" "Leah, everything good and sorted? I'm sure you must be exhausted now." "Yup. I think I'll hit the hay now, just took a shower." "That's good, I'll get out of your hair now, love, have a good rest." "Love you, Dad." I ended the call while yawning. Snuggling in bed as promised, I slowly drifted off to dreamland. I wake up and stretch, expecting to feel the normal cracking of my bones. Wait, I can't feel anything? What's going on? I frantically look around, only to find my body. I freeze. I don't know how to react to this, but it seems I, Leah Clover, have died. In my sleep, no less. Due to a gas leak. Much wow. I'm speechless. This is a new building and the rent was pretty steep, so I expected the facilities to be, safe? At least the death wasn't painful. Even worse, it seems to be due to an irresponsible builder who fucked up, even after being reminded to check the gas properly. Great. Lovely. Ugh. I can only float around and deadpan at that particular builder and curse my luck that he was working on the room I rented. At the very least, everyone else living here in this new dorm didn't die from the gas leak from my room. Despondently, I watch on as my body is discovered in the building. My dad came to check up on me after I missed the daily call we promised to do. Sure, it may sound like helicopter parenting, but in reality the calls were pretty short and not too much trouble, as it was only to check whether we were both okay or not. I try to take off some of the burden of raising me, since I can emphasize a single dad taking care of their only daughter. Seeing my dad cry so heartbreakingly over my body, I guess the shock caught up to me. I started to cry silent tears too. I'm glad I at least said "love you" one last time to my dad. Opening my eyes, expecting to see the scene of my death, I see a blue pop-up window instead reading, "Welcome, player." I blink. Wait, what? Chapter 1. I did say I wanted independence, but not like this. I panic a little and look around frantically, seeing unfamiliar surroundings. It's quite dark. Is it nighttime? The weird window I'm seeing can wait later. I look at my hands. Why are they so small? What? Silvery hair falls over my shoulder as I look at my hands. Last time I checked, my hair was dark brown. I take a moment to appreciate the pretty color though. It shimmers pink and blue, though mostly silver, like a pearl. I'm wearing a simple outfit consisting of a t-shirt, hoodie, loose shorts with leggings, and combat boots, which makes me look rather tomboyish. Snapping out of my moment, I slowly look up and take a proper look at the area. I get up from my lying position. It seems I am in a park somewhere. Luckily not too many people are around to see my strange acts of bewilderment. Also, it looks like I am homeless. I turn back to the floating blue window, deciding to get it done and over with. I tap the continue button. There was a pleasant plink sound. Hello, you have been chosen to reincarnate into this world from a lottery. It should be clear what world you are in once you take a better look around. I have provided a body for you. So no worries about having taken over someone, but for now, please familiarize yourself with the system. Wait, this is starting to suspiciously sound like one of those cliché "I reincarnated in blah blah world" with a game system story I've seen and read online. The boom of the isekai genre adds evidence to this phenomenon. Welp, at least I have something to go off of. Please think status. Status. Unsurprisingly, a blue window replaces it with pretty useful information. Basic info. Name, Cecilia Selam, Leah Clover, age, 13, 20, HP, 100 NP, 1010, SP, 100 Stats - strength, 10, dexterity, 10, vitality, 10, intelligence, 10, sense, 10. Abilities - active, appraisal, LVL1, passive, gamer's mind, max, gamer's body, max, perfect memory, cooking, LVL3, artist, LVL5, singing, LVL4. HM. NP, not MP? Is that a typo? Name, age, HP and SP are self-explanatory. My stats look pretty sad as well at 10 each. Looking at my abilities, I can see possible explanations as to why I remember everything and why I am not having a huge panic attack right now. It seems maybe some of my skills have carried on from my previous life? Oh well, I'll see what the system has to say. The system randomly chose a name for me. Cecilia Selam, huh? Not too bad though, it borders on being cringy. It seems you are familiar with these sorts of things. Part of the enjoyment is finding things by yourself, no? So I shall leave you to it. Thank you for using this system. I mean, it's not wrong. I've always been quite quick on the uptake, so I'm not really too unhappy. It seems this system is just going to be the passive type, unlike some other fictional systems that like to talk to their host. And to be honest, I don't really want to stress over my stats too much either. Sounds like the system has been working overtime at an office with no pay, so I'll just leave it or them alone. Tapping on stats - it gives me a brief rundown of how each one works. Strength, how strong you are, dexterity, how fast and nimble you are, vitality, how much health and stamina you have, intelligence, how efficient you are with NP and NP recovery time, sense, how good your situational awareness is. HM, this is new, a sense stat. Well, I'm not complaining, it sounds very useful. The other stats are what I expected them to do. Praise my voracious reading of isekai novels and fan fiction from my past life. Thinking of the usual gaming system options, I think of the obvious and one of the most useful skills of being a gamer. Inventory. Lo and behold, it seems I can access it. Taking a quick scan of it, it seems thankfully, this is the unlimited type. Yay, I don't have to lug around heavy items and worry about weight storage limits. In a slightly better mood, though still upset about my unfortunate Muchwao death, I hop up from the park bench and look at it, using the appraise skill I have. Park bench. Yup, expected that. I start walking around along the paths and use the appraise skill on everything I see to attempt to level it. I take the chance to calm down a little more. The night air smells nice, and there was a pleasant breeze as the sun was rising. I guess that answers roughly what time it was. The park is relatively small. I quickly come across a road and start walking along the pavement, curiously studying my surroundings. I came across an electric billboard that showed the time. It seems it was almost 6 a.m. I shrug and continue my journey. Pling. Daily quest. Stretch 0-10 minutes, push-ups 0-100, sit-ups 0-100, running 0-10 kilometers, and stretch 0-10 minutes. Ah, it came, a quest. I mean, I was expecting it, but it is surprising. I glance back at the clock, 6 a.m. I guess I'll expect this quest to pop up every day at this time. I guess it could serve as an alarm clock too. I don't really want to know what will happen if I don't do the quest. Judging from the various isekai with video game elements fictions I've read, there is usually a penalty if you didn't complete them. Welp. No time like the present. I start some basic stretching I remember from a YouTube video I followed along with a long time ago and start counting. Thank God for my perfect memory passive. Off I go. With the push-ups and sit-ups done, I start running using appraisal on everything for quite a while. I eventually see a sign with weird letters resembling hieroglyphics on it. I stop and study it. I forgot to add something, language comprehension, max, learned. Oh, well that was some great timing. Well okay, let's see, it seems Heaven's Arena is around a 20-minute walk from here, shops in another direction, and etc. Wait. Heaven's Arena? That sounds awfully familiar. I warily look up and see a super tall building in the distance. Oh. I guess I'm in Hunter x Hunter now. Ha, explains the NP thing I had going on then. Chapter 2. I continue running, and out of the corner of my eye I see something by the road that is shining. I look around, and it seems the few people that are outside don't seem to notice it, and something tells me that it is due to my system. I walk closer and see a screen pop up. Pick up? Yes. Obtained small recovery potion. The shining spot disappeared. Well, seeing as I have not seen any shiny spots until now, I can see that something like this will be a rare occurrence. Looking at the description, it recovers 20% of my HP, NP and SP. I put it into my inventory while making the action of putting something into my pocket and move on with the daily quest. I see more shining spots and obtain various knickknacks and potions. Eventually. Pling. Daily quest dash, stretch 10 minutes, push-ups 100, sit-ups 100, running 10 kilometers, and stretch 10 minutes. Appraisal leveled up by 1. First quest, complete, and I also leveled up the appraisal skill a few times. I sit down exhausted on the park bench I started on. Let's see, oh, I got a quest reward. Quest reward full recovery potion plus 3 stat points. Ooh, the reward looks small, but it is a daily quest, so I'm not too disappointed since it will add up. I put all the points in strength. As soon as I decided that, the points were automatically assigned. I guess this system is very hands-off, which is very useful. I don't exactly want to be seen waving my arms around and looking vacantly into the distance. Since it's the Hunter x Hunter world, I'd rather be cautious about how I behave. Thinking a little more about it, I think it's best that I limit interaction with the system rather than rely on it all the time. I'll just live this life like I will normally and not treat this place too much like a video game, despite having the system. I doubt I have a respawn point after all, this isn't Re-0. Plus, the points seem to assign themselves to what I am thinking too, and I have perfect memory to help me keep track. I'm glad I didn't reincarnate into somewhere like Attack on Titan, that would have sucked so bad, even if I did have a gaming system. Anyways. Plan of action. First, find somewhere to stay, I need shelter and necessities. The rest? Train my butt off at Heaven's Arena once I get out of my noob stats. Oh, and also my skills, since it seems they can be leveled. On that note, appraising the park bench again gives me wood park bench. This will take a while. Sitting on the park bench, more and more people come out to start their day. Appraising them doesn't really give useful information, but eventually spamming it for a few hours leveled appraisal to level 4. Appraising different things now gives me a brief description, and for people, it just gives their basic information like my own status screen. Though rarely they are hidden, and instead I get question marks for numbers. I'll assume that's because they are stronger than me by a large margin. Seeing as my SP recovered fully, I got up and checked if I had any money on me to buy some food. My stomach growled. I look at my inventory and see that I have no Jenny, aka money. Welp. I guess I'll use the rest of the day to earn some money. you'll also like. Come to think of it, what day is it? It would be really disappointing if my future knowledge is useless due to being in the future after canon, and finding the Hunter exam location would be a total drag. I mean, I could prove myself to the Kariko Gon, Kurapika and Leo Rio meets since I know roughly where they are due to the show. But yeah. I throw the thought to the back of my mind as my stomach decides to growl in complaint again. Well, seeing as I have a singing skill, I could do some busking and level it at the same time, maybe. I look in my inventory and find a hat which I collected from the various shiny spots I encountered during my run. Great, I'll use this as a bowl for Jenny. From the conversations I could hear, the language is Japanese, and I vaguely recall the fact that the alphabet here is based off of the Japanese kana. I guess I'll have to sing Japanese songs. Relieved that one of my hobbies was singing in my previous life, and seeing how it was level 4, I quickly thought of a song that I really love, Ichiban no Takara Mono, aka My Most Precious Treasure. I quickly test out my voice to get used to it, singing it quietly and making sure to adjust my voice to clear out mistakes I could hear. I walk around in the park and find a fountain where it is rather populated with people and settled by a tree. I set the hat down and get to work. Thankfully, the song still sounds good without the background music, but really if I want to continue this I'll need to learn and buy an instrument. I managed to quickly gather a small crowd, which made me nervous as I was surprised that my level 4 singing could gather this many people. Some people throw some money into my hat, in which I throw a small smile at them while continuing the song. The song ends and the small crowd I gathered gives an applause. I bow politely and smile. I guess some people really liked the song, and I quickly got requests to sing it again, with them handing over money as well. I obliged and continued singing various other Japanese songs I recalled in my past life. After singing various Japanese songs for a few hours, I stopped and thanked people for listening. Collecting my earnings, I walked off and found somewhere to store it into my inventory for safekeeping. I looked at my earnings, seeing that I managed to earn 5,000 jenny. I recall a 100 jenny stored during my run, and I estimate that 100 jenny is the equivalent to my past world's $1. I hum in consideration and hope that I will be able to afford a meal and a room at a cheap hotel for a day at least. Looking at my stats, I saw that the singing skill level only increased by 1 level. I guess skills level slower after reaching level 4. The problem is, I need somewhere to train and get some combat experience, in which Heaven's Arena may be good, but right now I'm just a scrub with none at all. I want to get to the 100 floors quickly so I get a place to stay temporarily. Pondering over my short-term plans, I wander off in search of somewhere to eat. I hear a hostile voice call out, "Oi." Hoping that it was for someone else in this area, I continue walking, only to find that a hand pushed me heavily, causing me to stumble. I quickly found my balance and turned around warily. I observed a tall man, alone. He looked like a delinquent. Seeing that I was looking at him with some apprehension, his face distorts into an arrogant look. "I saw how much you earned, kid. Hand over the money," he threatens. I sigh inside my head. I didn't expect to encounter a robbery in broad daylight. I look around and see that people seem to be looking at the encounter. I turned back to the man and appraised him and saw numbers not too far from mine, at the very least. I could test out the 3 points of strength I earned earlier. Pling. Hostile enemy detected, urgent quest issued, objective, defeat enemy reward, +3 stat points, EXP. I guess that's more reason to fight back, I guess. The man doesn't seem to want to kill me, at least, just rob me, and looking at the guy's lack of pockets, he doesn't have a weapon either. Getting impatient, the man frowns and decides to step closer. I wait a little, acting scared, lowering his guard. I quickly punched him in the stomach, taking the air out of him, and followed up with a kick to his family jewels. I don't look back to see the results and run off. Pling. Enemy defeated, issuing rewards. Level up. Oh. I guess that small encounter, along with the quest reward, caused me to level up. I should expect it to get harder to level up in the future, but for now I can at least get stronger quicker. I sorted the points into DX and found that the level up gave a point in each stat, and found my HP and SP is now 110. I follow the directions to a food court and enter a random bakery and buy a cheese bread and a sausage bread. I noted that this particular bakery sells bread that resembles the bread I would find in a Chinatown bakery in my previous life. Taking a bite, I hum in appreciation at the taste and set off to find a cheap hotel. Walking along, I see movement from an alley and look curiously. Is that a portal? I stare blankly at it. A window pops up upon my approach. Pling. Dungeon encountered, recommended level, 12. Okay. It seems I've found somewhere else to train other than Heaven's Arena? Seeing the level, I deem that the mob should be lower level at the start. Looking around to make sure no one is looking, I enter the dungeon. There is a small flash and I find myself in a well-lit cave. Crystals glowed, illuminating the area in colorful lights. Admiring the pretty sight before me for a moment, I walk cautiously onward. Suddenly, there was a notice. Dungeon quest, objective, clear all hostile enemies. Reward, everything dungeon provides. I grab a baseball bat from my inventory and lick my lips nervously. It's not like I have a better weapon. I found this from a shiny spot in the park. Eventually, I happened upon a slime. It's a clear baby blue color. For some reason, it also has eyes, resembling the Dango from Clannad. It doesn't seem to have noticed me yet as it is facing away from me. I appraise the slime and see that it provides me with a level and its HP bar. This particular slime is level 5, which isn't too far from my level 2. It doesn't look very hostile, so I approach it carefully. Upon approach, it turned around and spotted me. To my relief, it didn't attack me, and instead looked up at me and wobbled. See cute, were my only thoughts as I squatted to look at it curiously. I extend a hand and pet it. The slime is cool to touch and felt like a water drop cake. The slime seemed to like my warm touch and seemed to meld into my hand like an affectionate cat. I look in my inventory to see if I could find anything to feed it. Maybe if I gave it a recovery potion, it would be able to learn a skill from it? Thinking back on when I watched Reincarnated as a slime, I opened a small recovery potion and fed it to the slime. It seemed to like the taste, not that I know what it tasted like due to not having any injuries. It wobbled happily. Slime tamed, would you like to name it? Expecting this to happen, I ponder for a bit and just named it Blue, because of its color. I think that despite being a simple and unimaginative name, it is cute. I picked Blue up and put it on my head. It seemed content with its position. Finding that it didn't have trouble staying there, I continued onward in the dungeon. I encountered quite a selection of monsters, and it seems hostile things are marked with red in their names upon appraising them. There were monsters resembling wolves, spiders and bats, but they all looked mutated in some way and would drop items on death, and in rare cases, various types of potions. Despite the level difference, as long as they couldn't hit me and I could hit back, I would be able to defeat them. The most troublesome enemy in my opinion were the spiders, as they were fast and could poison me. Though because of that I got a poison resistance skill. Getting hit many times due to my inexperience with combat also caused me to get an array of resistance skills, like pain, paralysis and bleed. On a side note, there were also creatures that were peaceful, such as Blue's brethren. I would imagine that they would attack me if I attacked them, so I usually left creatures like that alone. Otherwise, I had a few close calls and was able to pull through after resting a bit, waiting for my HP and SP to regenerate. The places with non-hostile creatures were like a safe space, as I tested luring a hostile creature to the area, but it got mauled by the slimes. It was rather traumatic as it melted into the slimes. I'll spare the details. I look at Blue and it blinks up at me innocently, and I just decided to not think about it too much. Because of the level difference, I was able to level up faster and got to level 7 and Blue to 8 by the time I reached the boss room. I appraised Blue and asked it to heal me after getting injured, and found that when it used a skill, it used SP as well as some NP. The regeneration rate is not as good as mine, so I imagine that Blue will get better as it levels up. Additionally, it seems I will get bonus stat points every 5 levels, as when I reached level 5, I was given a bonus of 3 to distribute freely. The boss room leaked a very ominous aura, and I concluded that I am still too weak to confront it. Thinking of a solution, and out of curiosity, I backtracked the cave and found that the enemies could respawn after a set time. Upon the discovery, I was happy to be able to get stronger, because even if the recommended level is 12, the boss felt stronger than what was said. I must have got this feeling due to my sense stat going up as I leveled. After a while of beating up the same types of monsters with my trusty baseball bat, I was able to get used to their movements and could defeat them easily. I fed some of the various potions I acquired to Blue, and during this, Blue learned how to use the effects of the potions as a skill after feeding the corresponding potion many times. Eventually, Blue and I got to level 17. The creatures were not giving more XP after beating them up for a while. So I went back to the boss room and I sensed that I was able to confront the boss of this dungeon, though I'll have some trouble, I absent-mindedly concluded. Pursing my lips and frowning nervously, I opened the door. Chapter 3. Upon opening the door, I see webs covering the walls, obscuring the natural light from the crystals, casting a dimmer light compared to the rest of the cave. Telltale signs of spider eggs littered the room. In the middle of the massive cavern, a huge mutant spider could be seen, outclassing the spiders outside by double. Upon appraising, it is level 15, but it feels about evenly matched with me despite me being 2 levels higher. I have not stepped on the web yet, it was busy with its latest meal. Gee, I feel like this is every arachnophobe's nightmare. I absent-mindedly noted. I grip my baseball bat tightly, I can't tell if I'm scared or excited. To think just a day ago, I was a normal woman. In this dungeon, I've already had quite a lot of close encounters. Frankly, right now, I want somewhere to rest and have a moment where I could sort my thoughts out. Enough of this, whining will do no good. I step into the room. The boss, upon feeling the vibration of prey in its domain, turns quickly and lets out a deafening screech. Grating against my ears, but dulled due to pain resistance. Blue wiggles nervously and decides to hide in my hood to not get in my way. The mutant approaches quickly, forelegs raised, to stab me from above. I dodge and use the opening to attempt to break its leg with my baseball bat. Hitting it successfully, I dodged the second foreleg that followed and also took a swing at that. I glance at its health bar, seeing that it went down by only a measly 24 points, compared to the spider's 1000 HP. I kept with the strategy of hit and run when eventually I got it to 800 HP. The tactics changed, and the mutant starts trying to immobilize me with its sticky webs. Thankfully the time for it to make webs was long, so I was able to avoid and sneak in a lot more hits. Upon finding that I was too quick, it started aiming at the floor instead. Making sure to dodge the webs on the floor with my heightened senses, I couldn't dodge all of them, and the spider got a few hits in, stabbing me in multiple places. I was healed by Blue, and at long last, I managed to get the boss down to 300 HP. It started spitting acid at me, melting the places it sprayed on. I got a little on my leg and was hit with a painful burning sensation. There was a sound of acquiring something, but I ignored it and pushed on with the pain. My movements slowed down, and it took the opportunity to try to bite me. Expecting this, I countered by jumping on its head and started bashing its head in, holding on for dear life as it swung around in desperation. Moments later, the abomination of a spider died. I weakly opened my inventory and chug a few health potions. I dropped to the floor in exhaustion, vaguely seeing Blue nudge my face and hearing the gentle ping sounds of the system, before blacking out. I wake up, not knowing how long I have passed out for. I check for Blue, and find that it is eating the webs? Seeing that it is okay, I remember all the pings I got and check the notifications. Corrosion resistance acquired. Pain resistance level up. Level up. Level up, level up, level up, level up. First boss bonus. +5 stat points. System is impressed and pleased with your tenacity. Acquired title, Crawler Slayer. Wow, it seems like I earned a lot from this fight just from the system alone. I equip the title and I glance at the boss, I see a strong glimmer. I collect the items. Acquired Sword of Hierarchy. Acquired Ring of Hierarchy, Acquired Recovery Potion X5, Acquired Leg of Hierarchy X8, Acquired Eyes of Hierarchy X6, Acquired Hierarchy Spider Silk X5. You'll also like. I finally got myself a decent weapon. Yay! Though I can't exactly use it in Heaven's Arena. Taking a look at it, it seems like they used the fangs to forge it, causing it to have the effect of corrosion. I also got a bunch of materials. I guess this system has a crafting one as well. Welp, since I defeated the boss, I should go explore this dungeon properly. Standing up, I patted off some dirt and called over Blue, who was done absorbing the webs. It also ate the eggs while it was at it. Blue jumps on my head and so I walk out of the cavern. I find some chests, finding blueprints, potions, materials and accessories. I could try my hand at forging some of these things and selling them. I equipped the most useful accessories I found and planned to sell the rest. Waving to Blue's family when I passed by. I left the dungeon rather satisfied, a small smile on my lips. Looking at the sky, not much time has passed, maybe a few hours. I guess being in the dungeon makes the time outside slow down. God, I should buy a phone, actually, since there is crafting, maybe I can make one for myself instead. I turn to look at where the portal would be, and see that it disappeared. Once you clear a dungeon, it goes away, got it. Standing in the midday sun, I stretched. Seeing there was no reaction to Blue, I guess normal people can't see the slime, though I can't guarantee for hunters who use Nin. Blue is an Nin beast, I conclude. Therefore, maybe the system was created by Nin? I guess that would make me a specialist then. Though recalling Hisoka's personality test, I wouldn't call my personality fit for this type. Welp, I can think about this later, time to find somewhere to stay and head off to Heaven's Arena. I walk along the pavement and see a library. I can use the library to find information. Walking in, I take a seat at a computer and search for a cheap hotel nearby. Out of curiosity, I also looked up the Hunter Association's website and found that the next exam will be the 286th. The current date is 24/10/1997, 2 p.m. This means I am roughly a year and a few months from the start of the 2011 anime canon. I soon found one with okay reviews and set off, quickly booked a room and jogged to my destination. I stared up at the tower in awe. Being here in person makes the height of the place a lot more impactful. After a moment of gaping, I head inside to reception and apply. The receptionist gives me a strange look, seeing how young I am, but just as quickly adapted. I guess strong kids are a norm here. Maybe. Filling the form, I paused on the birthday session and decided that my birthday will be the same day as my previous life, the 8th of September. I looked around reception, my objective done, I walked to the waiting room silently. Number called, I stood calmly from the bench and strolled to the arena. I don't want to leave big ripples here and I don't want too much attention either, so I make sure to look like I'm struggling with the fights. From another person's perspective, I will only win because of how fast I am rather than a clean one-hit KO. 1 week later. Phew, I think acting weaker than I am is actually more difficult than going all out. Holding back my quickly acquired strength and senses is difficult. The hard work paid off though, I now have a room in the 100s, which luckily has a simple kitchen, I might add. I used the money I earned to buy art supplies, a computer and a guitar. At night, I will meditate and try to unlock my nin nodes, which should give a boost to my stats. I crack my knuckles, time to earn money and level up. Time quickly passes and the application deadline for 286th Hunter exam ends. At the same time, I rose up the ranks in the tower for the past few months and made it to the 199th floor. I unlocked my nin without baptism in less than a week and mastered the basics in 2 weeks. Advanced nin techniques were mastered in a month. I make sure to lose rounds occasionally and when I detect my opponent has unlocked their nin. I pack up everything in my room quickly and decide to move to Zaban City before the association decides the new location and make travel there difficult. I look online for a house for sale, booking viewings for decent-looking residences. And then, I was off. I descend at the Zaban City airport. I've heard rumors that the city is full of scammers, which might include the houses I booked viewings for. Because of my age, people likely won't take me seriously, so instead I used Blue, who managed to learn the skill to disguise itself and be able to talk. Blue decided to act like a butler, usually, which I found a bit weird. Where did he learn to behave like that? Though he has his cheeky moments, it took a month of persuading to make Blue call me Lia instead of Master during the time he was learning how to speak. As for how people are able to see Blue, he uses nin to make himself visible. He can also mimic people's nin, but it is only cosmetic. I quietly reminded him, Blue, please be careful of how you address me. Remember, you are my guardian with this disguise. Of course, Lia. Most of the few houses I booked viewings for did turn out to be scams, but luckily one of the bookings was legitimate. I quickly paid and moved in the next day, Blue cleaning up the place. As thanks, I cooked food. My level in cooking is now 7. It turns out the max level of each skill is 10, and as for representation of skill, 1 is beginner, 5 is advanced and 10, aka max, would be mastered. As for my progress on my stats, I would say I am pretty strong at this point. As a point of reference, by the time I enter the exams, I should be around the same, if not more, level of strength as Hisoka. Judging from what I saw from his matches at the arena anyway and taking into account the speed of my growth. I'll worry about these things later, I have a whole year after all. I look around the room, pretty happy with my decision on this home. It is cozy, the neighborhood isn't too noisy and has the latest facilities. The only thing I needed to do was crime-proof the home, which is easy enough. I also renovated the home to have a soundproof studio where I could work on crafting and level my skills in private without the neighbors complaining. Content with where I am strength-wise for now, but not slacking too much, I continue my training with Blue, my sparring partner. Over the whole year, I made sure to do my daily quests and level the many skills I've acquired through training and experimenting. That listing all of them would be tiring. I now have an arsenal of weapons in which I can use all of them effectively due to my weapons mastery skill, though I usually stick with using a sword or naginata as they were versatile. I often went into dungeons paired with Blue, which is very helpful as I have someone that can heal me in a pinch and clear the dungeon quicker. I also earned a few titles, which give bonuses and make my life easier. Being able to enter dungeons let me experience many things, such as exploring tundras, deserts, forests, jungles, and all sorts of different, more like hellish, environments. I managed to make my own phone as well, making it resemble my phone from my past life, but with features I added on myself. I noted sadly that I am at the level of a Mary Sue, but it's not like my powers came out of nowhere, I had to earn them through hard work. Then, when December came, with bated breath, I applied for the Hunter exam. On a side note, me being here has probably already messed up canon, so at this point, I'll just say fuck it. There was no going back now. January 7th came quickly, and I entered the restaurant in anticipation. Chapter 4. I entered the elevator with no problem. Thankfully, the staff did not question my ability to find the location so quickly. I stood in the elevator and did a double check of my preparations. Over the year and a half I was here, I turned 14 and my hair grew from shoulder length to my lower back, so I pulled it into a low ponytail. I remember the first time I looked into a mirror, though the general features of my past face were the same, my eyes were now a purple-blue compared to the hazel I had before. I also now had an additional 2 moles under my right eye. I was kitted out in simplistic, but maneuverable clothes, made by myself from the materials I got from dungeons, a dark sleeveless turtleneck under a loosely zipped-up blue hoodie, dark shorts with a skirt cape, black tights and combat boots. I brought along a black backpack with necessities in, but its other purpose was to somewhat disguise my inventory ability. There is also a sword sheathed in my backpack. Satisfied that I have everything, I hummed to myself, waiting for the elevator to reach the bottom. The elevator slowed to a stop. I stood up and walked into the room. It is sparsely populated due to how early I was. Beans walked up and politely handed a badge to me. "Hello, please take this badge. Be sure to wear this on your chest at all times, and be careful not to lose it." I took the badge. "Thank you," I replied with a small smile. Glancing at it, I got the number 11. Ping. Good work on getting here so far. Here. Main quest. Pass the hunter exam. Pass phase 101. Pass phase 201. Pass phase 301. Pass bonus stage 01. Pass phase 401. Pass phase 501. Ha! I've never seen this before. I guess this was bound to happen. I see a bonus stage. This probably refers to the 1999 version of the series. Come to think of it, it may be possible that events will be a mix of different versions. I wonder what would have happened if I decided to not follow the story. I shiver. Throwing the subject to the back of my mind, I pivot and walk to the right side of the room and lean on the wall. I took out my phone and listened to some music with earphones, watching as applicants trickled in disinterestedly, noting many of the colorful characters from the show. I was soon approached by Tompa and I looked up at his presence. "Hey! I've never seen you around before. Are you a rookie?" with fake welcoming. I smirked inside my head, expression not changing, stating, "Yes, what of it? WL, this is my 35th attempt, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask me." "I'm Tompa." I'm Lia." "Sure." He stills a bit, probably thinking about how to trick me into drinking his poisoned canned drink while trying to maneuver around my curt speech. He goes on, "Here's some juice to our acquaintance." I took the drink without hesitating, muttered a thanks, opened and sipped it. I was immune to poison since a year ago. He also took a sip from his can. Seeing that I was unaffected after a few moments, he made a face, to which I flatly responded, "Do you need something? You'll also like." And no. Good luck on the exam. Bye. I look back down at my phone. He walked off, most likely wondering if he gave me the wrong drink. Welp, joke's on him, I shrugged inwardly. Swirling the can, I sipped from it until it was empty. Moments later, I spotted Hisoka looking at me out of the corner of my eye. I made no movement to acknowledge him. I'd prefer to avoid him, but I felt that eventually I'll have to rip the band-aid. Oh, there was Killua. He was already being approached by Tompa, and judging by Killua's neutral face forming into a cheeky smirk, he was already planning on messing with him. I look back down at my phone and smile in amusement. Eventually, I got bored of messing with my phone, instead taking to wandering around the area, still listening to music. I would say I'm not used to doing nothing, but really, as a self-proclaimed procrastinator, I'm used to it. The fact that I was quite a slacker in my past life doesn't help. The only reason I don't miss my daily quest is because it's become a habit. The daily income of stat points is rewarding. While I was in my own world, an hour passed and I finally saw Gon, Kurapika and Rio enter. They were quickly approached by Tompa. Wow, he's everywhere, huh? Also, looking at all the characters, their appearances match the 2011 version of their designs. As I thought, I'll be dealing with a mixed bag. The whole spiel of introducing themselves and other regular participants happened, which was abruptly cut short by a scream a guy lets out due to losing his arms to Hisoka. I wince inside my head, it'll be impossible to get his arms back. Though it was his fault for provoking someone thoughtlessly, I don't think crippling him is the answer. But then again, this is Hisoka. Yeah, I stand by my position to not approach him. Tompa then offers the group a drink in which Gon spits out, immediately followed by the other two, who pour their drink on the floor with no remorse. Tompa apologizes, trying to cover up. It doesn't convince Kurapika and Ryo though. I can already recall Tompa's monologue on the rookies this year, disgruntled that none of them fell for his laxative spike drink trick. Likely with the additional mention of me. There goes Killua again, pestering Tompa for another drink. I was highly amused with his antics, which were more funny to see in person. I could tell that Killua could sense me observing from where I am in the crowd. He looked in my direction, I gave an amused wave and walked up to him. Oh, his hair is really fluffy now that I am up close. I introduce myself, yo, I'm Lia. Killua. He replies casually, giving me a calculating look. Right on time, Seitas begins the first phase of the exam. Can't really say I like running here though, the scenery doesn't have much to offer. I start to run in silence, though Killua seems to have decided on something and runs with me for some reason. A few hours in, I could hear Ryo shout nearby, "Hey! Wait up, kid!" I glanced back, knowing that he was referring to Killua. He fumed, "You should show the hunter exam some respect." What do you mean? Killua asks nonchalantly. Why are you using a skateboard? That's cheating. Why? Ryo fires back, why? This is an endurance test. I cut in calmly, my voice just loud enough for them to hear. I don't think it's an endurance test, Seitas-san just said to follow him. Gon's clear voice pipes up behind me, she's right, agreeing. Whose side are you on, eh? Ryo looks at Gon. Turning his head in my direction, a bit miffed, he asks loudly but not unkindly, and who are you? Name's Lia, nice to meet you. I replied. I'm Ryo. I'm Gon. Hey, how old are you? Killua asks Gon, but he then turns to me too. I'm 12 years old. 14. Looking at Gon, Killua makes a decision. I guess I'll run too. Killua jumps off his skateboard and starts running with us. Oh! That was cool! Gon exclaims. Introducing himself, Killua states, I'm Killua. We continue running. After a while, Ryo starts slowing down, coming to a stop and panting. I turn around and pause, waiting. I put my hands in my pockets. A few seconds later, Ryo yells that he's going to be a hunter and runs past everyone. I chuckle and give an applause after Gon picks up Ryo's briefcase with his fishing rod. Killua shouts, impressed. I continue running with them silently, as they have their conversation. I see the stairs in the distance, and sigh inwardly. I'm not close to being tired, but it's a bit of a pain and boring to run upstairs. Killua then challenges Gon to a race, in which he agrees, saying that the loser buys dinner. Gon looks at me, asking if I wanted to join. I'll pass, you guys have fun. I gave a small smile, I'll run with you guys though. Gon and Killua race off, while I run behind them, dodging all the other examinees that started to collapse. I spotted a topless Ryo and Kurapika without his blue robe in the distance. Due to my enhanced sense, I could hear them discussing their pasts, which caused their motivation to become a hunter. I tune it out, feeling like I was intruding on a private conversation, even if I already knew. I paused and blinked. Wait, how is Leorio's tag sticking on his chest? I questioned, but ultimately decided not to think about it. Catch you later, old man. Killua cheekily remarks, about to run past Leorio and Kurapika. Leorio hollers, I'm not old. I'm a teenager just like you guys. As if that sentence stopped time itself, everyone freezes in the air, somehow, and gives various sounds of astonishment. I couldn't help it wire reactions. I couldn't speak anymore as I giggle with mirth at the expense of Leorio, clutching my stomach. Hey! Don't laugh! A few minutes later. Finally, my giggles die down. Phew. Sorry, I apologize, though another round of giggles was threatening to break out. You should be. Leorio mutters, a bit peeved. I look at Kurapika, oh? Who are you? I inquire, still smiling a little after laughing. I'm Kurapika, he smiles and nods politely. Nice to meet you, I'm Lia. I quickly wave before running after Gon and Killua, who decided to run ahead. Geez, more and more applicants are dropping like flies. I wish they had the courtesy of going to the side and collapsing there instead of in the middle of the stairs. But I guess they can't help it, they're too tired. I absent-mindedly jumped over someone. Running a bit more, Killua states that the exam is going to be a breeze. Gon gives no comment, but instead asks Killua, hey, why do you want to become a hunter? Already knowing their reasons, I tune out of their conversation, thinking about what I should say. I made sure to react when needed though. We soon see the exit in the distance. Forgetting about the subject they were talking about, their race begins in earnest. They run past Seidas as he is turning and start fighting about who came first. I reach the checkpoint a few seconds later, nodding politely to find that they tied after asking Seidas. So they decide to buy each other dinner at Gon's suggestion. Killua was baffled by the logic though. Looking around, I notice the dense fog that obstructed the surrounding area. Gon finds out that the first phase isn't over and turns to me with curiosity, oh yeah. I almost forgot, hee. Lia, why do you want to become a hunter? Killua looks curious too. I look up, as if thinking about it. The license is useful, I want to explore more of the world, help people. Oh, and I want to find some answers to my questions. I say truthfully. Questions? I smile secretively in response as Killua hums. Sensing that the conversation is over, I sit down with the two and start looking at my phone, changing up the playlist and pausing it, checking up on the auctioning of my artwork and seeing emails. The reason I could connect to the internet is because I infused the phone with Nen. It can translate languages and has the same looks and functions to a smartphone from my past life. I also made it so it is linked to my system, I can check my stats and such without casting suspicions. Oh, it is also waterproof and hard to break. I look up briefly to nod at Kurapika and Leorio who just arrived. Hearing the door slide shut, along with the shout of the poor guy who couldn't make it. Well, he would have lost his life if he continued anyway. I put away my phone and looked at Seidas. The fog lifts and soon after Seidas gives an introduction and warning about the cunning creatures that reside in the Swindler's Swamp. The fake examiner appeared, causing whispers of doubt to rise about the authenticity of Seidas' position as examiner. Bloodlust. Quick as a flash, I sensed cards aimed at me. Time moving in slow motion from my sense stat, I catch all of them. I would have dodged, but there were people behind me. I narrow my eyes slightly at Hisoka, displeased. Thankfully no one noticed, since the fake got most of the attention. I'll take this as a sign to rip the band-aid. Sounds of astonishment rose in the area. Gon looked over noticing the slight displacement of air and whispered, eh? Why do you have cards too? Obviously, she was also targeted. Killua whispers back, quick on the uptake. Upon hearing that, The group looked at me, not knowing how to react to me being able to block the attack. Sensing that, I smile reassuringly and sigh, shrugging. I shove the cards in my pocket. Ma, let's bring back our attention to the exam, shall we? No need to worry about me, offering a small smile. Thankfully they didn't question further and went back to the matter at hand. Hisoka explains that any hunter bearing the title would be able to block that attack. Seidas was unimpressed, but didn't express it, instead warning Hisoka with disqualification firmly. He then goes on to explain the deception, in which Ryo and Hanzo laugh nervously at. Seidas gives another warning and starts the exam again. Please follow me. The fog sets in thickly. Once again I could sense the bloodlust coming from Hisoka, though it was not particularly aimed at me this time. Killua senses it, gone, Lia. Let's move up. I nod, knowing the reason. Gon agrees too, saying we don't want to lose sight of the examiner. Killua explains that he is more concerned with moving away from Hisoka, as staying too close is dangerous. He could smell it. Smell? Gon sniffs the air. I don't think he smells though. I don't think he means that kind of smell, Gon. I think with amusement. Gon yells across the swamp warning Ryo and Kurapika too, in which Killua scolds Gon, questioning whether he could feel the tension or not. Ryo and Kurapika yell back, telling us not to worry. We move up. I'm not too worried, since I have faith in them. Soon after, screams echoed around a swamp. Rest in peace, I thought sadly. I sensed something in the ground, and pulled Killua and Gon back before they could be swallowed. As a result, I was in the affected area instead. Before the frog could close its mouth, I disposed of it quickly using my sword. Looking back to see if they were okay, I unconsciously collected materials from it with my system. Before I could say anything, Gon exclaimed, "Ooh. That was close. You were so cool though. Thanks for saving us." He beams at me. "S so bright." Thanks. Killua says, embarrassed. I smile, "You're welcome." I think for a bit before saying, Killua, could I have the canned juice please? That way, we'll call it even." Seeing no problem with my request, he hands the drink to me. Gon looks back, expressing his worry for Kurapika and Ryo. Killua thinks otherwise, telling him to forget about it and runs off. I smile apologetically, "Sorry, I'm going with Killua." "Good luck, Gon," I say, sensing that he was going after them. I give a small wave and go after Killua, catching up quickly. Since we weren't too far from the main group, we were there after a few minutes. We've caught up to the main group, Gon, Lia. Killua looks back, "Huh? Where's Gon?" He was still worried about Ryo and Kurapika, so he went after them anyway. "Let's believe in them, okay?" I encouraged. I was going to do that anyway, but okay. Killua and I reached the second phase exam site safely. There is a big gate. Participants are scattered around the clearing, most of them on the ground and panting from the grueling physical and mental strain. The forest around this area is a lot less swampy. A few minutes later, Hisoka arrives and puts Ryo down by a tree. He walks away and I take a glance at him before going to Ryo. Ouch, that punch looks painful. Seeing that he is relatively okay and in the condition I remember him being in from the anime, I walk away and wait nearby for Gon and Kurapika. Killua joins, and I spot Gon and Kurapika coming back. "Oh, there they are," I say. I start waving at them, getting their attention, and point to Ryo. I stroll to where the group is with Killua, who greets them. "Killua, Lia. I can't believe you actually got here. I thought that you were done for." I give him a look for that comment. "I just tracked Leorio's cologne." "Cologne? That was how?" Killua comments with disbelief before slouching and deadpanned. You definitely are weird, huh? I nudged him for that comment. Seta's voice rang out in the clearing, excellent work, everyone. Phase 2 of the exam will occur here, in the Bisca Forest Park. So, I shall take my leave. He lowers his arms, best of luck to all of you, and walks off back into the forest. On cue, the gates open for the second phase. Chapter 5. The gates creaked open, revealing a spacious front yard leading to a mansion at the end. The two examiners, Buhara and Menchi, sit in the building. They introduce themselves to everyone who passed the first phase. Everyone crowded around them, tensed, and we waited for the next test announcement. Suddenly, there was a loud rumble, breaking that tension. Bewildered whispers spread, but soon after Menchi announces, "There you have it. Phase 2 will involve." The air is tense once again. Cooking! Shouts of disbelief rose from the participants. That's quite right, your challenge for the second phase is to produce a dish that will satisfy our palate. Mechi's clear and firm voice rings out. An angry participant questions why they needed to cook. In response, she introduces herself and Buhara as gourmet hunters with pride. The crowd jeers with mocking laughter. These guys don't have any respect, huh? I know cooking sounds really out there for an exam that places your life on the line, but they still are hunters. Disrespecting them only harms yourself and others the chance of passing at all. I frown at the current situation. Mechi's criteria will be stricter now. Hisoka's bloodlust for a challenge directed at the two isn't helping either. Anyone who has any objections can just go home. With that line, the crowd is silenced. There are still mutters of dissatisfaction. They explain that for the second phase, Buhara will order something, and when we pass Buhara's order, we will move on to Menchi's. The crowd starts to get rowdy again. I sigh. Menchi, annoyed, repeats herself, "Look, as I said before, if you don't want to take the test, you're free to go home." The crowd gets even angrier and Hanzo shouts, "How annoying. If you're gonna complain, seriously, go home." Can you continue with what you were saying? Gon pipes up. Menchi, who seems to calm down at that, explains that if we make them both say it's delicious, then they will pass. The test will end when they are full. Damn, I've never cooked in my life. Leo Rio clicks his tongue, worried. I never expected this, comments Kurapika. Gon claims that he has cooked before, to which Leo Rio says that it is surprising. But Gon goes on to say it's raw egg on rice, to which they sweat drop to. They then turn to me, expecting something. I smile, not bothered by what they were implicating. Yeah, I can cook. This is a test though, so I can only give you hints. They relax, accepting my decision. With that, Buhara asks for a whole roast pig, his favorite. People expressed bafflement, questioning where to find pigs. In the end, we were sent off to the forest to hunt for them. I walk around with the Gon squad, explaining, a whole roast pig is a rather simple and traditional dish. It only needs salt and pepper, though if you want to stand out, you'll need to add something to it. You'll also need to watch how strong the fire is. Oh, and you're free to watch me if you want. They nod seriously. We continue the hike. Gon slides down a hill, followed by Killua and me. As a result, though, I crashed into Killua. Oof, sorry killed dash before I could finish. Leo Rio and Kurapika crashed into me too. What was that about, Gon? Killua complains. Found them. We all look up to see pigs. Pigs, but then Leorio's voice cracks as he states, they're chewing on bones. You'll also like. Don't tell me. They're carnivorous? Kurapika exclaims, surprised. Seems so, I comment with out-of-place tranquility. As soon as they spotted us, the horde of pigs started chasing after us, furious. The stampede sent the other applicants flying. As we were running away, I gave a hint to Gon's group, "Ma, it looks like something on the pig looks strange, so think about why it is there." I run up to a pig, separating it. When I am far enough away, I jump on its back and hit its forehead with the minimum force needed, killing it instantly. I killed another pig and stored it in my inventory since I wanted to taste it too. Blue pops out of my backpack, checking up on what I was doing. "We're on to cooking now," I explain. Since Blue is always going to be with me now, I decided to tell him everything. Blue is a surprisingly good listener. If you're wondering why he is hiding in my backpack for the exam, it's because adding him will be overkill. I can complete the test myself, no problem. The element of surprise if something goes wrong, though he is more of a healer. Hauling the pig back to my counter, I proceeded to clean and gut it. I pounded the skin, filling it with small punctures, and simply seasoned it with salt, pepper and some herbs I found in the forest. Then, I roasted the pig over a wood fire, which gives the pig a smoky aroma. The scent spreads throughout the clearing, making me gulp. When it is cooked to perfection, I present it to Buhara, who passes it with flying colors. Menchi seems to look at the roast pig I roasted longingly. Buhara passes everyone who presents a pig, no matter how bad it was cooked. By the way, my cooking has reached max level a month before the test. It is just on time. It took a very long time, but I abused the fact that time runs slower in a dungeon to train my skills. If I stay too long in a dungeon though, it will issue a warning to leave, otherwise, I will be kicked out and fail the quest. I didn't cook and then throw the food away though. I found that the food would give various buffs when eaten. I could also store it in my inventory without the food changing in temperature. I gave food to Blue too, which also gives buffs to him. I stretch and wipe the sweat I got from roasting the pig on an open fire. The sound of the gong concluded the first half of the test. The result is that Buhara eats 70 whole pigs and I hummed, impressed. Kurapika mutters on the side in confusion of how the guy can eat more than his body mass. Menchi announces, "I'm not like Buhara. I won't be easy. I will judge you very harshly." She paces, the second half of phase 2. "I'm going to order." She stops, "Sushi." The crowd, perplexed, asks, "What is sushi?" To give a hint, she indicates the counters have all you need to make sushi. Everyone moves to the counters and picks up the knives in confusion. Hanzo is smirking, hiding the fact that he knows what sushi is not very well. People look at him with their faces saying he obviously knows what it is. The Gon squad looks at me, I lean down and whisper, "Listen carefully, it's a dish from a small island." It is a bite-sized dish commonly served with a slice of fish on top of seasoned rice. I straighten myself, they seem to have prepared the rice for us already though. Rio shouts anyway, giving away the main ingredient. I put a hand to my face with Kurapika and we shared a look. As Rio accused everyone of eavesdropping. Oh well. If the Gon squad listen to me carefully, they will know that fish is not the only possible main ingredient. I ran out with everyone to catch some fish and obtained a few different species. I then went into the forest to grab a pair of eggs that are different kinds. I went back to my station, everyone else was concentrating on their dish and didn't notice me cooking. I fillet the fish one by one, giving a taste test for the taste and to make sure they weren't poisonous. Luckily none of them was, so I cut them into sashimi, setting aside some for nigiri sushi. Then, I moved on to beat the eggs with some sugar, salt and soy sauce and fry a rolled omelette. I wet my hands and shape the rice with the sashimi I set aside. The omelette is secured with a strip of nori. I happened to see some lime, so I cut it in half and arranged it with a few of the sushi on the plate to please the eye. I pretend to put the rest of the sushi in an icebox I find lying around, instead putting the sushi into my inventory. I'll give out the rest to everyone later and share some with Menchi since she seems like she needed some cheering up. Throughout all this, no one other than the Gone Squad seemed to look at my counter. I won't complain, but part of this test is to rise to the challenge of trying something new. Thinking this, I covered my dish and stood behind Hanzo. Mechi is frustrated at everyone though. So she didn't pass him, despite making it correctly. Hanzo loudly announces the answer and he realizes the mistake a moment too late. I give him a look of sympathy. Everyone rushes back to their counter to make what he described. I move up and reveal my dish. The arrangement seems to cheer up Menchi's mood a bit. She noticed that I used a rolled omelette, but looks aren't everything, so she cautiously eats it. Her face lights up and she hums in pleasure. Pass. I sigh in relief. It seems like the Gone Squad did better than they did in the original. But it seems Menchi is taking out her frustration on everyone. In the end, no one but me passed. This sparked outrage among everyone, particularly the guy who wants to be a blacklist hunter. He rants that he cannot accept the fail from a mere gourmet hunter. In response to that, Menchi says she'll come back in an hour to show what being a gourmet hunter is about. 1 hour later. The crowd mutters restlessly. Menchi arrives back with a jar of something green, revealing to everyone that it is moss. Showing that it is a rare delicacy coveted by gourmets around the world. She tops it on rice and asks if anyone wanted to try it. Gon volunteers, though when he tried it, his face showed confusion and he couldn't tell whether it was good or bad. Menchi goes on to say that the moss came from a big horned bear that lived in the mountains past the wetlands, proving her capability as a hunter. I hear the hum of an airship approaching. Yet, a few of the participants were still unsatisfied, trying to attack her. They were all wiped out. Sadus tries to intervene but is cut off by Menchi, saying that she refuses to pass people. Explaining that the test was to have the guts to confront something unknown to everyone. Still, Miss Menchi. Don't you think it's too harsh that only one person passed? A voice announces from the airship flying overhead, and Netero jumps out of the airship. Menchi reveals him as the chairman of the Hunters Association. Basically there is going to be a retest to cook a boiled egg and everyone heads off to Split Mountain. My pass still counted. So, everyone boards the airship. After a while, we arrive and Menchi demonstrates how to get the spider eagle egg. The method follows the 2011 version, which uses the updraft. After that, the Gone Squad jumps down with no hesitation. I follow since I want some eggs too. Feeling the wind rush past me, I caught onto a web and waited. The web couldn't hold the combined weight of the applicants and is threatening to snap. Some people couldn't wait and fell to their deaths, screaming. I winced. Even if I have the skill, calm mind, I can still feel and express my emotions like a normal person. I have never killed anyone, nor have watched and heard so many deaths in one day. I have prepared myself to face the possibility of killing someone one day. This is the dark world of Hunter x Hunter after all, but it still will not feel good to do so. I sense the wind coming and at the same time, Gon shouts, now. I touched an egg and put it in my inventory and at the same time grabbed another with the other hand. The wind carried us all back up on the cliffside. The feeling of falling and weightlessness is exciting. Boiling the eggs and taking them out at Bohara's unintended signal, we all passed the test. I nommed on the egg, and my face melts into a blissful expression, sparkles in the air. The egg has a wonderful hint of sweetness to it and the yolk was so rich in flavor. It melts in your mouth. I savor the taste and eat the egg in happiness. POV change. Unknown to Cecilia, people thought she was surprisingly very cute with that expression. Not that she wasn't cute in the first place. She usually maintains a calm and mature demeanor, so seeing her express childlike happiness was a first. Killua is the first to comment about it. I didn't know you could make that sort of face. Well, the egg is delicious, I can't help but smile. Cecilia explains with a slight blush, rubbing the back of her head. Gon innocently says, what Killua means is that your smile is very cute and you should smile more. Kurapika and Rio follow up with nods and sounds of agreement. Cecilia blushes even more, flustered. Instead, she pops the last of the egg into her mouth in an attempt to stop blushing. That egg cheered me up a lot, it is so delicious. I should come back here in the future and use these eggs for more dishes, she thought, as her face turned blissful again. The four exchange smiles. POV change. When everyone is done eating their eggs, we all board the ship again to depart for Trick Tower. The third phase of the exam. Allow me to introduce myself to the 43 remaining applicants. I am Netero, chairman of this year's Hunter Exam Selection Committee. I am his secretary, Beans. After introductions were over, we are informed of the arrival time. Now, we are free to do what we want. Killua and Gon also invited me to explore the ship with them, which I agreed to. Kurapika and Rio decided to take a break in preparation for the next phase. Have a good rest, I say to them as I go to explore with the two boys. I carry the icebox with me. Huh? What's that? Gon asks curiously, looking at the icebox. Oh, it's the sushi I made from the second phase. Ah. Stay here, I'll be back. I ran off, planning on giving some sushi to Kurapika and Rio. Kurapika! Rio! They turn and look back at me, confused. Aren't you going with Gon and Killua? I am. I just need to give you something. I open the icebox, making sure they can't see inside, and take out the sushi and related condiments from my inventory. I wanted to give you guys some dinner. I made too much during the second phase. I hope you enjoy it. They look at each other, then smile at me. Didn't you pass Menchie's harsh judging? I can't wait to try it. Thank you, Kurapika says. Rio proclaims, thanks, I'll enjoy it. Smiling, I turn and run back to the two boys with the icebox. Thankfully, the two were still standing there waiting for me. I'm back, thank you for waiting. I gestured to the icebox. I was giving some sushi I had left over to Kurapika and Rio. I still have a lot left, so we can have some too. Ooh. Thanks. Cool, you didn't need to though. Killua looks away. I tilt my head. I giggle as Gon and Killua are kicked out of the kitchen and scolded to go eat in the dining hall. Gon pouted and Killua looked a bit miffed as I laughed. I told you guys that you shouldn't sneak into the kitchen. We sat by the windows to eat, enjoying the sushi I made. It made a weird combo with fried chicken though. They stood up and exclaimed from the beautiful view. I smile. It's like the ground is covered in jewels. I gave a sound of agreement, then came the question about Killua's parents. They're alive. Probably. What do they do? They're assassins. Gon looks up from the window. Huh? Both of them? Sounds rough. I comment. To which Killua looks up and laughs. That's your first reaction. You guys are a riot. Ha. We all sit back down on the seats. Killua props his elbow up on the windowsill and leans on it. You guys are the first people who've ever responded seriously. Killua says, smiling. I hum while Gon says, well, you're telling the truth, right? To which I nod along to, agreeing. What makes you think that? It's just a hunch. Gon explains. Same. Slouching on the windowsill, Killua says, that's weird. People only like me because they can't ever tell whether I'm serious. Gon and I hum to that. I lean on the windowsill. He explains, I'm from a family of assassins. So they're all assassins, and my family has really high hopes for me. But I can't stand it. Who wants to have their life planned out for them? Killua turns to look at us. Raising his voice, when I told them I wanted to decide my own future, they all snapped. My mother had tears streaming down her face, as she told me I have the potential to be a top assassin. Gon laughs nervously, and I tilt my head. Horrible parents, right? It's natural their kid would go bad. Killua looks up smugly, we ended up fighting. So I stabbed my mother in the face, my brother in the side, and ran away from home. He puts a hand on his chin, still smug, I'm sure they're out for blood now. But if they find me, I'll send them packing. I blink, head still tilted, and Gon gave an awkward laugh. Killua stands up and poses, sparkles around him. When I become a hunter, I'll start by capturing my family. I'm sure they're worth some hefty bounties. I blink again and sense Netero around the corner. Ah, he's going to move super fast, surprise the two, and invite them to the ball game. Oh, here it comes. I turn with the two, still sitting, leaning on the windowsill with my other arm. I make a neutral expression. I stand up with the two when I pivot to see Netero walking towards us. Killua regards him cautiously. Contrasting with Gon, who asks curiously whether he has seen someone on the other side. Killua isn't fooled and narrows his eyes, glaring at Netero and asking what he wants with us. They have a staring match, lightning sparking between them. Netero-san, would you like some sushi? I made too much from the second phase. I smile sheepishly. He looks at me and strokes his beard, thinking, ooh, you're the only person who passed Menchie's test, right? I inwardly roll my eyes. Sure. I just hand him a plate to be done with it. What a weird place to interrupt. Killua's sweat drops, probably thinking that maybe I am quiet because I'm bad at conversations. Anyway, answer my question, old man. Netero doesn't answer directly, saying he was bored and wanted companions. Instead, ask us how we found the exam. He starts eating my sushi. Summed up, Gon says it is fun, Killua says that he was disappointed and that it was boring, and I say so. Annoyed, Killua turns, let's go, Gon, yeah. Before we could leave though, Netero invites us to the ball game. Offering that if we can defeat him in the game, he will make us hunters. I roll my eyes inwardly. He then adds that the sushi is delicious, I politely smile. We arrive in the training room. Netero explains the rules. Explaining that if they can take the ball from him before the airship reaches Phase 3, then we'll win. We were free to attack him however we liked and that he won't touch us. To be honest, I wasn't interested in participating, so thinking this, I state, I'll pass, I'm not really interested. I'll stay to watch though. Come to think of it, I still need to do my daily quest. I have an hour left till midnight, I take out my phone and look at the quest section. Daily quest. Stretch 10 minutes. Push-ups 0-100, sit-ups 0-100, running 90 kilometers, and stretch 10 minutes. Oh. It seems I went over the goal of running, maybe there's a hidden quest? Stretches don't seem to count, as I stretch in preparation. Everyone looks at me, wondering why I was stretching. It's a habit, I make sure to exercise every day. They all look at me confused, except for Gon who looks at me curiously, but they go back to what they are doing. Killua uses rhythm echo. It wasn't very effective. Pokemon references aside, I go back to exercising. I proceed to do 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 sit-ups and run for another 10 kilometers around the training room before warming down. I get strange looks as if saying you already ran at least 80 kilometers and you're running more also, what's with that speed? You're weird. Killua comments to me. Netero gives me a calculating look, while Gon is his usual innocent, bright smiley self. I just gave a closed-eyed smile and laughed. I look back on my phone. Daily quest. Stretch 10 minutes. Push-ups 1,100, sit-ups 1,100, running 110 kilometers, and stretch 10 minutes. Hidden quest completed. Plus 100 stat points, full recovery potion x10. Bonus for completing 10x. Skill, teleport, LVL1. Once completed, a hidden quest cannot be done again. I blink, inwardly shocked at my rewards. Teleporting has got to be the best one. I can teleport anything I am touching as well as myself if needed. As long as I can clearly visualize the location, person, or object, of course. This skill is too OP. But it'll be a very useful skill to have in a pinch. The cooldown time is 1 day at level 1 though. I assume leveling it up will reduce the time. Looking back up, it seems that Gon and Killua have teamed up. They aren't very used to being in a team, I observe, as they crash into each other a few times and start arguing. Moments later they improve and are doing a bit better than they did before when they were alone. I cheer them on since I am not distracted by my daily quest. Gon. Killua. Do your best. Fight. It seems to boost their morale as they go faster. Though, in the end, Killua still gets frustrated. Forget it. I give up. I lose, and starts walking back to where he left his shirt. Gon, surprised, says, "Huh? Why? We still have time. And just now, we came really close." Geez. Killua slings his shirt over his shoulder. You really have no clue, do you? The old man has barely used his right hand and his left leg. Astonished, Gon blurts, "What? But we're still powerless against him. We could chase him around for a year and never take the ball from him." Killua explains. Netero says nonchalantly, "Oh, you figured it out? And here, I thought I'd fooled you." So that's what he was doing. Gon realizes. Peeved, Killua stands at the doorway. "You really know how to piss me off, old man." "Let's go, Gon, Lia." He starts to walk off and I get up. I am planning on going out to find somewhere to rest anyway. Also, I want to make sure Killua doesn't kill anyone. Gon points at Netero. "Oh, I'm gonna play a little longer." I sling my backpack over my shoulder, dust myself off, and pick up the icebox. Killua peers back into the room incredulously and shouts in Gon's face, "Huh? Didn't you hear what I said? It's useless. You won't be able to take the ball from him." "Yeah. I don't care about the ball. We've only used up half of the time limit. I'm gonna make Netero-san use his right hand before the time runs out," Gon says cheerfully. Dumbfounded, Killua wishes him luck. I see. "Yeah, I got it. Good luck. I'm getting some sleep." "Ah, I'll come with you, Killua." I look back. "Good luck. Gon. You can do it." I encouraged him, gave him a guts pose, and jogged to catch up to Killua. "Hey, can we drop by the examiner's room? I still have more sushi, so I'll give the rest to the examiners." I point at the icebox. Dumbfounded, Killua says, "Geez, how much sushi did you make?" "You're so weird." I pout. "You called me weird 4 times today." That's 'cause you're weird." The conversation about me being weird seems to take his mind off things though. We walk in comfortable silence to the examiner's room. When we reach the room, I knock on the door politely. Menchi is the one who answers, and looks at me surprised. "Do you need something?" I still have sushi left over, so I'm giving the rest to the examiners." "I hope you enjoy them." I hand the icebox with the rest of the sushi to Menchi, who receives it with both hands. She looks at the box in anticipation, eyes sparkling. Looking up, she cheerfully thanks me and closes the door. You done? Killua asks. I walk away from the door, looking back at Killua. Yup. Let's go get some rest now. I lightly bump into the two guys Killua kills in the anime before. I guess I can't change everything. I sigh. I sense them, but they were really weak, so the thought was thrown back to the back of my mind. I thought I changed the event enough, so I let my guard down. Impatiently, they grabbed me and shouted, "You bump into us, and then ignore us?" It seems that while I was thinking I unintentionally ignored them. I sigh inside my head and glance at Killua, who looks dark. Not good. Looking up, I apologize, sorry, I was lost in thought, could you please let go of me? Before they could reply, Killua starts to attack. I grab his arm and stop him, inches away from one of the guys' throat. The two guys sweat in fear as they look at Killua. I stare at them with a smile. Will you take the apology? I say, my voice lowering on each word. Taking the hint, they sweat and stammer out a "we're sorry too," shuffling away with their tails between their legs. Why did you save them? Killua stares at me, still in assassin mode. I look up, still holding his hands. Well, I have a feeling that you didn't want to kill anyone anymore. What I said seems to snap him back to normal, and he stares at me, startled. We stand like this for a few seconds before he notices me holding his hands. He immediately blushes, snatching his hands out of my grasp and looking away. I smile, not offended, and pat his hair. Oh. It's super fluffy and soft. His ears are red. I had to stop though, because he hastily ran a little a ways from me. Stop that. Killua shouts, flustered. HM? Oh, okay. I say, slightly disappointed. Patting him is relaxing. Ma, let's go get some rest, alright? I'm tired, He pauses a bit, but agrees, walking next to me. Chapter 6. I wake up and stretch and check my phone for the time. It reads 8 a.m., though this should be the time the exam starts. I recall that Netero delays the exam until 9:30. So I leisurely sit up, yawn, and stretch. My movement seems to wake up Killua, so I greet him. Mornin', have a good rest? He blinks and nods, tilting his head. I stand up. Well, I'm going to freshen up. See you later. I offer a small smile. CYA. Hearing that, I go off to do my own things. About a quarter of an hour later, I amble out of the women's bathroom, refreshed after taking a morning shower. Feeling clean is the best. At the same time, Kurapika and Leo Rio came out of the men's bathroom. Surprised at the coincidence, I greeted them. Oh, good morning, did you guys have a good rest? Kurapika answers, yes, we did. Thank you for the sushi yesterday, by the way, it was delicious. He crosses his arms and nods. Yeah. I can see why you passed that woman's strict requirements, good job. Leo Rio adds and pats my head, making me look down bashfully. I'm happy you guys enjoyed it. I put my hands together. Oh. I'll go back to Killua and search for Gon, so let's go get breakfast. I suggest. They both agree and wander off to the dining room while I stroll back to where Killua was waiting. Killua agrees, and we both go to check on Gon. Let's start at the training room. That idiot probably fell asleep right then and there. Killua says. I smile. Ma, if we find him asleep, let's just leave him alone, he needs his rest. Knowing him, Gon probably just fell asleep a few hours ago. Killua hums nonchalantly at that, agreeing. Peeking into the training room, I find Gon sleeping in the middle of the training room like expected. We glance at each other, communicating with our eyes, and just close the door. I'll grab some breakfast for him when he wakes up. I shrug, smiling helplessly. Arriving at the quite populated dining hall, we spot Rio and Karapika at a table. We join them, explaining that Gon is still asleep. I ordered a York new breakfast, which is basically an English breakfast with some apple juice. We finish breakfast. Rio, complaining, retells what happened last night with Tompa trying to mess with them as they were resting. Right on time, Mr. Bean announces that we arrived at Trick Tower and we should prepare to dismount the airship. We stroll off to the airship's exit. Reaching the exit, we see Gon. Good morning. Here, I grabbed some breakfast from the dining hall for you. I hand over a simple sandwich. He takes it gratefully. Thanks, he chirps, finishing the sandwich right then and there. Maybe I should have bought him more food. I blink, dumbfounded. Hearing Mr. Bean about to announce the task for the next phase, I look up. Ahem. Everyone, the exam's third phase will begin here, at the top of Trick Tower. He pauses as someone questions the name. To pass this phase, you must reach the tower's base alive. The time limit is 72 hours. We all gape at each other and Rio mutters in no way. I shrug. With that, we will now begin the third phase. I will pray for your success. The other applicants spread out, and I walk to the edge of the tower with the Gon squad. The airship flies away with Mr. Bean wishing everyone luck again from the airship's intercom. Gon kneels down, and we peer down the edge, looking down at the sheer drop. Are we supposed to climb down? Rio questions. Crossing his arms, Karapika remarks, that would be suicide. We hear a confident chuckle behind us. You'll also like. Maybe for a normal person. We turn to see a tan buff guy, but a top-class rock climber can handle this, no problem. Before he tries to climb down the tower, I stop him, grabbing his arm. I think it's best you don't. The tower is called Trick Tower for a reason. There's no way the solution to a task like this is as simple as climbing down. I say seriously, frowning. Putting his hands in his pockets, Killua coldly says, just leave him. But. Seeing that it was just me, he shrugs off my hold and starts to climb down confidently, ignoring my warning. Expecting this to happen, I rummage in my backpack, finding a sturdy rope. Seeing how fast he is at climbing down, everyone stares at him. He's going down pretty fast. Gon comments. I see the six-legged flying beast in the distance. I tighten the rope on my hand. It seems he has noticed the beast and is frozen in fear. I throw the rope down and yell, "Oh, I!" Grab the rope. A split second later, I feel a frantic tug. Noticing that he has grabbed the rope, knuckles white, I start to pull. Everyone turns in my direction. Seeing what I was doing, they held on to me. I grunt, and the rock climber is flung back to the top. The monstrosities aren't giving up though, and fly at us. Unsheathing my sword, I cut the rope. It would only get in the way. I whip my head in their direction. I'll take care of them. Otherwise, they'll go after you guys. Get back! I grab onto one as it is flying up. I get on its back and instantly behead it. I use the monsters as stepping stones and jump to the others while spinning in the air, adding force to my slashes. I'd like to say that I landed safely, but it seems I landed smack bang on a rotating tile. I could only yell out, "Looks like I am going ahead, see you guys at the bottom," before I disappeared from everyone's view. Above Trick Tower, the Gon squad gawk at each other, dumbfounded. As soon as I land on my feet in the middle of the room, I scan the room. Sensing there are no traps here, I see a hallway and walk down it. The tower is made of thick-cut stone, like in the show, and is lit by artificial lighting. It's a hallway with the typical life-threatening traps in it. Come to think of it, it resembles one of the dungeons I went into using the system. The setting was a temple, and at the end, the boss was some sort of living undead. Weird, right? It resembled something rotting and dead, but it was actually alive? Though it seems to have lived too long. It has lost any sense of coherence if there was any in the first place. The guy was tough to defeat, why no, like one of those glass cannon mage builds that crowd controls you to stay away. Thanks to him though, I got a lot of elemental resistances. Anyway, the temple was maze-like and was lit by nin-made torches. Rather than having many monsters, this dungeon relied on its traps and puzzles. Like it was testing whoever had the misfortune of wandering in. I saw a lot of skeletons. The system is born from nin, there is no doubt about that. I only got this power when I entered this world, and I have a feeling that something is behind system. This also means that the generated dungeons may be real locations in the world of Hunter x Hunter. The monsters I saw have always been appraised to have nin too. I reached the end of the obstacle course. Before I know it, I am faced with the decision to go left or right. I just go left. Trick Tower is called Trick Tower for a reason. Overthinking could be one's undoing. You just gotta tackle any challenge that comes at you. That will be the case if one doesn't have the sense stat anyway. Hee. Walking into a room, I am on a platform. I take in the bottomless pit of water. Bars slide down behind me. Guess I can't go back. I hear a rumbling noise and look up. The wall is slowly going down. This is a rather evil trap. You don't know how deep the water is, nor do you know if the water is safe or not. The only way is down and searching for an exit. Not fast enough? Drown. I sigh, lamenting that I just had a shower a few hours ago. I take a deep breath and dive. I study the dark waters around me and see a small serpent of sorts, sleeping at the bottom. Appraising it shows that it's a baby, but is a deadly species of snake. Something is looped on its tail. I close my eyes and sense the body of water. There is nothing else. I swim closer, examining the snake. It looks like the ribbon on its tail is securing a key. By the way, the ribbon is tied in a bow, so maybe this snake is someone's pet or a bad joke. Moving in water is difficult, your movements are slowed, and every action you make it easy for others to sense. Welp, since I'm immune to poison and I have the skills I've trained, so this isn't much of a risk. I untie the ribbon with confidence and grab the key. The snake wakes up and is about to strike. I just slapped the snake, dazing it. To top it off, I tied the ribbon back on around its neck instead. I see the camera on the snake and make a peace sign. Surfacing for air, the ceiling is almost atop the water, maybe because Lippo saw it fit to increase the difficulty for me. The task only took me a few minutes. The speed at which the ceiling is going makes this the last time I can come up for air, and I dive back down. Oh! Things are lighting up on the wall, the snake chases after me as well. I give another slap. There's a timer and some random arrows. Well, basically, I have 5 minutes before I'm trapped here. I still have the key, and nothing in the pit changed, so I conclude that I have to find somewhere to slot it. I swim around, investigating the bricks with arrows for 1 minute before concluding that it's a red herring. The arrows lead to nowhere. The biggest clue is the timer, right? So maybe it's not a far-fetched to inspect the timer. There's also the ceiling that just came down. Rather than trying to draw me faster, it might be because the solution is there. I quickly checked the area of the timer, nothing there, though I did find a clue. It was very slight, but in the middle of one of the 2 dots separating minute and seconds, there is an arrow pointing up and a line above it. There is nothing else to go off of, so I look around on the ceiling. I find a keyhole tucked near a corner, next to it an arrow pointing diagonally. 3 minutes. I swim in the direction of the arrow, and it brings me to a slightly different colored tile. Carved into the tile was the words, "At your feet." I swim to the floor. The bottom is covered by rocks, so I uncover it and find a handle sealing something. It is secured rather tightly, but my strength doesn't make it a problem. 4 minutes, 40 seconds. A keyhole is revealed. I didn't get a bad feeling and immediately slotted the key in. Instantly, the water started to drain into vents that appeared along the bottom of the room. Taking in air, I sigh in relief. That was a close one. I look around for the snake, but it isn't here, so I guess it slithered out to somewhere else in the tower. A door opened slowly, revealing stairs going down. It goes down pretty far, so maybe the puzzle I just solved is actually pretty hard? Oh well, I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. As soon as I step on the stairs, it starts wobbling. Don't tell me. I reach the bottom slightly frazzled. The stairs fall after feeling pressure on top of it. There were gaps between some of the stairs too, so I had to jump across. Arrows shot across the rooms, so I had to dodge those as well. The stairs lead to a hole, so I had no choice but to jump down it one at a time. Sighing yet again, I gaze upwards and see the hole is sealed, and to the front, a door. It is labeled "Open to continue." Obviously, I opened the door. Even if I can sense someone's presence, I had no choice. There is nothing else in the tiny room. I come face to face with someone's chest. A clover and a spade decorated on it. Ugh. I grunt, making a displeased face. I turn my head up to see Hisoka in all his creepy glory with half-lidded eyes. "It's you," I mutter. He smelled like blood. Maybe he just killed that Togari guy? "It's me." Hisoka smiles, like a cat who got the cream. "Please step away so I can enter the room." I deadpan. He doesn't move, just smiling at me. Rolling my eyes, I reach into my pocket, finding the cards he threw at me before. "Here. Your cards." Knowing him, he was probably thinking about whether to kill me or not. Or how there is so much fruit in this exam. After handing him the cards, he seems to have come to a decision, and I get to see past him a wall to the front. I look to the right. A hallway must have been where Hisoka came from. I look to the left. It's an arena like the one the Gon Squad found. I guess there are prisoner challenges everywhere in Trick Tower, and it's inevitable. There is an announcement by Lippo explaining the rules, though. For this one, the two prisoners request a duo fight. They're likely confident about their teamwork. But I'll have to work with Hisoka. Studying him, he's making a disappointed face, judging the prisoners on the other side. The event starts, and the prisoners start trash-talking. I facepalm. Hisoka just massacred them. I would have helped, but I didn't get the chance to. If I moved, I would have had to dodge his cards instead. I'll spare the details of the condition the bodies are left in. I look at him impassively. I thought it was a duel battle. I was annoyed. He replies with a closed-eyed smile. Sighing, I just moved on. I walk to the other side, careful to make no reaction to the corpses. I was prepared to kill people on this exam, but I guess that isn't happening with Hisoka around. Or who knows? It's Hisoka. To be honest, I don't really want to kill anyone. Maybe it's an idealistic thought to have when I'm taking the hunter exam to become a hunter. This world is cruel after all. I have calm mind, so the impact will be numbed, but I still will not feel good about having someone's blood on my hands. Hisoka walks in front, and I follow cautiously. What? I barely know him. And for all I know, he might suddenly think of something that spikes his bloodlust and turn in on me. I shiver inwardly. I might have used up all my luck on acquiring something like System I Peppa hands in my head. Oh well, it's not like I'll die in one hit. We reach another obstacle course room. This time it involves parkour, pushing buttons and pulling levers. I can see why it needs two people. It requires teamwork. Still, if Hisoka actually met another applicant here, he probably killed them. The traps in this are sneaky, they predict where you would land and set off a diverse array of attacks. Luckily my senses made me avoid all of them, Hisoka just brute forced his way through. The rest of the tower was just cookie-cutter dungeon traps and puzzles. We uneventfully reached the bottom. I'm not sure whether to be happy about passing, or whether I should lament the fate of being alone with him for another 6 hours before Hanzo appears. I sigh. I run past Hisoka and am the first to pass. What? I can be childish. I am physically a child, after all. Childish. I sneeze. Bless you, Hisoka says with a sly smile, walking past me. Maybe it's due to all my close brushes with death, but I don't find Hisoka as scary as I expected him to be. Doesn't mean I want to be friends with him though. He's crazy. I just thank him and situate myself as far away from him as possible. To take my mind off him, I do my daily training. 6 hours later, I hear the door open. It's Illumi, who talks to Hisoka. He notices me in the room, though, and I could feel a little bloodlust coming from him. Must be because I hang out with Killua. I pretend to not notice him, and instead peer at the door where Hanzo appears, cheering that he is first only to find out that he's the fourth. Since I was deemed a lot more approachable than the other two, Hanzo chose to hang out with me. He babbles on about being a ninja and telling his secrets, saying not to share them, though they're the same secrets he shared with Tompa. By the way, since you know about sushi, do you know anything else about Japan? I look up and hum in thought, I've never been, but I know that there are a lot of old traditions. The food seems tasty, too, oh. And I know a song about dango. You've never been? When we pass the hunter exam, tell me when you visit and I'll show you around. He offers boisterously. Also, a song about dango? Ma, it's like a children's song. I happened to learn it when I heard a girl from Japan singing it. The lyrics are about a big dango family and rabbits on the moon. I close my eyes and cross my arms. Japan is quite interesting with their imagination. He continues to chat and gossip to whoever managed to pass Trick Tower. To pass the time for the 2 days left, I listen to music, play games on my phone, sing a bit and even play cards with Hisoka out of boredom. I'm mostly lost since I am a beginner at card games though, to the amusement of Hisoka. However, I know he's cheating. I narrow my eyes and pout, you cheater, and I didn't go away to sulk. I didn't. As the last few minutes of the timer go down, I watch the door. Literally the last minute, the Gon squad plus Tompa pass. I shout, run up to them, and hold Gon's hands, you guys passed. Congrats, smiling warmly. I completely ignore Tompa, though. I notice Gon's blistered hands. What happened to your hands, though? This prompts Gon to tell me what happened for them in Trick Tower, and I nod along, and then Kurapika continues with how they bypass the last room's choices. Man, I can't believe you actually came up with that idea on the spot. Leo Rio says. Gon explains, hey, I realized we could break the walls using the weapons. But it took over 50 minutes though. At this, Kurapika gives an impressed look at Gon. I praise, great thinking Gon, and pat him. A few minutes later, everyone is allowed outside of Trick Tower. I scan the room, checking everyone's badges and taking note of them. Lippo introduces himself as a blacklist hunter and the examiner for Phase 3. Now if you don't mind. He snaps his fingers, your ride to the next phase is here. Wow! Gon exclaims. Leo Rio groans, so there's not gonna be much of a break before we get to the next phase, huh? Who cares? We get to ride on the airship again. Gon chirps to Leo Rio, excited. What do you mean, who cares? Leo Rio looks at Gon and grumbles. We all board the airship, and I prepare myself for the bonus stage. Chapter 7. The view above the clouds passed by. I sit next to a window, admiring the view of the sky. Soon enough, the airship starts to descend, and a crescent-shaped island appears. Gon, who is next to me, presses his hands on the window. There's an island. I can see an island. That must be where this ship is headed. Upon approaching the island, we noticed shipwrecks littered the area. Rio just wanted to get off the airship. We glide just over the shipwrecks. From up here it looks like it's a graveyard for ships. Kurapika comments. A few minutes later, we're approaching what looks like a battleship lodged into a cliffside. Far in the distance, I could make out a woman doing laundry on the front deck. She notices the ship and starts calling for someone below her. After landing on the ship, everyone goes outside, wondering if this is the exam site for Phase 4. Rio leans over the railings of the airship, groaning from motion sickness. I don't feel so good. If you're going to puke, don't do it over here. Killua turns his head to look at him warily. I should have taken a pill for motion sickness, Rio laments. I sense two people approaching. It's an elderly couple, the owners of this place. Hello, applicants. We are your hosts. They start to bow politely. Welcome. Rio questions to no one in particular, asking if they are the proctors for the next exam. Killua denies the notion, saying that, in Gon's words, I don't get that exciting feeling. What's up with that? The couple continues with their welcome. My name is Banner, and I'm the manager of this hotel. She lifts gestures towards her other. This is my husband, Jenner. Nice to meet you, Jenner says. Hanzo steps up to ask if this is a hotel, and Jenner confirms, explaining that they partially converted this ship into a hotel with all the amenities. He then promotes the hotel, advertising that they have hosted the King of Nibra and that the place is a favorite among celebrities of the continent. The hotel is referred to as the White Palace on the ocean. After more probing from Hanzo, Banner gives the information that the Hunter Association had a message to all the applicants. To all who passed Phase 3, congratulations on a job well done. Phase 4 will begin 3 days from now. Until then, please enjoy your short break in this island. At this, everyone relaxes, saying that a break was very welcome. Even if I didn't know about what happened in the anime, I would find the situation suspicious. It's the Hunter exam, not a vacation. There's gotta be a catch somewhere. I didn't want to ruin everyone's mood, so I didn't say anything. Everyone starts to trudge in. I walk behind the Gon squad, and as expected, they are stopped by the couple. They ask for 10 million jennies per person as advance payment. All the applicants stop, shocked by the price. 10 million jenny? Rio shouts incredulously. Most of us start to question the price. To compare how ridiculous the price was, Tompa shouts, for that price, I could stay at the most luxurious hotel in York New City for 6 months. Is there a special price for kids who don't have much money? Gon asks tentatively. Rio tries to convince the elders otherwise, complaining that even an average adult would not have that much money. The couple is firm in their decision though, and refuse to let people stay without paying up. In response to this, Rio gets angry, yelling that he would rather stay and camp outside on the island. Kurapika stops him and advises him not to, pointing out that you'll also like 1. We have to stay for 3 days on the island. There is little hope on the chances of finding a freshwater spring on this small island. 2. Otherwise, we would have to wait for rainfall, and under the tropical sun, we'd be dehydrated in 2 days. 3. Even if there is rain, it's still unlikely that we would be able to recover enough strength to be able to endure the rest of the exam. Then what am I going to do? Even in my wildest dreams I've never had that kind of money. Rio hollers in frustration. For people in your situation, the old man pipes up, we're more than happy to suggest an alternative method of payment. Would that be treasures? I pipe up, wanting to get this done and over with. Everyone looks at me, I sigh and clarify, there are shipwrecks everywhere on this island, and when you think shipwreck, you would think treasures too. Plus, part of a hunter's job is to be able to find valuable things, why no? The Gramps confirms my reasoning, and everyone runs off to find treasure. I'm with Killua and Gond since many people didn't take to diving underwater to find treasure. I hand Killua my stuff, taking off my hoodie, skirt, cape, socks and boots. Thanks for looking after our things, I smile. Without waiting for a response, I dive after Gond to find treasures. I find an array of valuable-looking items, and upon appraisal, it states that the material is real. I surface to the scene of Kurapika identifying the treasures Hanzo and Gon find, which are a ceremonial crown belonging to a prince and a scepter belonging to a queen of England, both thought to be lost forever. Leo Rio gets pumped up and takes off his shirt to dive into the sea, when Kurapika ponders, or it could just be an ordinary bedpost. Leo Rio trips in response, falling comically off the side of the boat. In any case, developing eyes to assess the true values is one of the basic skills for anyone aspiring to be a hunter. Kurapika continues. I splash water on him and dive back underwater before he could react, giggling cheekily. The treasures I find piles up one after another, and eventually, I find enough to overfill a regular treasure chest. Finished with my findings, Gon calls out to Killua, saying that there were a lot more treasures, which Tompa pointed out, much to his chagrin. I giggle, that's karma for you, Tompa. I shout over to him. He just clicks his tongue and makes off with the stuff Killua dumps on him. I pet Killua, thanks for looking after my things. You can go after Gon if you want now. I beam. Why, you're welcome. Killua blushes, he's embarrassed. Good luck on finding treasure with Gon, I'll be going back with my haul now. I put on the rest of my clothing and make my way back to the old couple, scoring myself a deluxe and single room. I wouldn't have minded sharing, to be honest, but I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. I take a shower to freshen up and then walk outside to see how everyone else did. I walk into the part where Kurapika shows Jenna the Kurta pendant, asking for information on the Kurta clan boat he found it in. Unfortunately, they were not much help, as the ship was already there when they first arrived, so they don't have information on the clan. Kurapika still received a second-class room though. I stare at Kurapika in curiosity, since he hasn't told me about the Kurta clan himself. It would be strange if I acted like I already knew. HM? Why were you particularly interested in the Kurta clan boat? Oh, you don't know, do you? Kurapika starts and repeats roughly what he says to Leo Rio during the first phase. Maybe this wasn't the best time to ask him, since he seemed like he wanted to think about what just happened. I'm sorry for your loss. I reply, genuinely sad. I know how it feels like to have loved ones ripped away from you so suddenly. If you ever need help, just ask, okay? I offer a sad smile. To be honest, I don't really agree with him taking the path of revenge. If my dad risked everything to get back at the stupid builder, I would feel sad rather than happy. I just wish he would be able to live a happy life. But, this is Kurapika's life, and I'm not really close to him either. It's not my place to butt in. Kurapika looks at me seriously and then smiles sadly, Lia. Thanks. I will. I give a lopsided smile and walk off to explore around the ship. I happen upon Gon and Killua, who are fishing. Gon just caught something and is starting to teach Killua how to fish. Yo, I approach them, what are you doing? I ask inquisitively. Hee, I'm teaching Killua how to fish. Do you want to join? Gon chirps. I walk to stand next to Killua, sure. I smile at Gon. Picking up the can of bait, Gon picks a worm out. First thing you gotta do is to bait the hook. Killua makes a disgusted noise while looking away, you. How can you pick that thing up like that? Gon furrows his brows with a blank face. I share a look with Gon, thinking the same thing. This is coming from someone who has grabbed something far more awful. I sit on the railing behind them, watching Gon instruct Killua on what to do. A few minutes later, Killua gets a bite. When he pulled the fish in, out flying came a weird-looking fish eel thing. I giggle with Gon at Killua, as he flails with disgust and panic from the fish he caught. My mood lifted. I separated from them to stroll around the ship. It seems like some of the applicants wanted to swap rooms though, particularly Tonpa. It's karma, I'd say, as I recall him swapping 2 times until ending up with Hisoka. Ponza runs off down the hallway, and Tonpa takes off, not looking at me. I share a look with a bewildered Banner and shrug. Watching the beautiful sunset, I continue with my leisurely stroll, ending up at the tower mast thing. I see barnacles. I remember the anime cutting to this scene and immediately thought that the whole island goes under. I should talk about this with Kurapika about my suspicions, but right now he is out paying respects at the Kurta clan ship. Maybe when he comes back. But for now, I'll go up and investigate more. I take a moment to admire the sunset. Abruptly, I hear the sound of the ship's horn going off. Must be Gon and Killua when they checked out the bridge. Birds take off from the loud noise and disperse in panic. Continuing to walk to the tower, I find a room where the ship's logbook is found. I take the book. Hopefully giving this information to Kurapika early on will prevent more deaths. I meander back to where Kurapika's room is, and politely knock on the door. Kurapika opens the door. Looking over his shoulder, I see a rather beat-up Rio crumpled on the side of the room, twitching. I blink, tilting my head. Don't worry about him, he'll be fine. He shoots me a puzzled look. It's quite late, what do you need? He invites me in. Excuse my intrusion. I walk and sit on a bed with Kurapika across me. I found something quite worrying on the ship when I was exploring. I get to the point and hand over the logbook. I think it's better if I left it with you. Kurapika schemes through the logbook seriously and looks up at me. Thanks for letting me know. It seems the situation is more serious than I thought. He folds his arms, thinking. I think the situation is rather strange, too. I have a bad feeling. Stang? I fidget with my hands. Well, first of all, when I went up the tower thing, I could see barnacles on the walls. Aren't they supposed to be found on the bottom sides of the ship? Also, this is the hunter exam. It's not like them to give applicants a literal free pass for vacation. I say free because there is treasure littered everywhere. If they have kept this hotel for as long as they have said, the treasure would have been long gone. Sorry, I rambled off on my own. Kurapika smiles softly at me. Well, I would say you deduced that by yourself rather than having a bad feeling. The logbook also confirms this. We should go tell the others, but for now, we need to rest. I nod hesitantly. Thanks for listening to me. Good night. I pivot and walk back in the direction of my room. I'm slightly worried. This is the first time I've tried to significantly change the story. Hopefully, nothing goes wrong. I open my eyes to the faint sounds of the airship starting to take off. I put on my shoes and walk outside, bumping into Gon and Killua. Come on, Lia. We need to catch up to the airship. I nod and run with them. By the time we got there, the airship was already far off the ground. There was no chance that we could reach it. Alarmed footsteps stamped behind us. Everyone else arrived, but they could only stand there helplessly as the airship flew far into the distance. Angry whispers ensued. It seems your deduction was right, Lia. Kurapika started. Everyone looks at me, shocked with a hint of betrayal. What? You knew about this all this time? Tonpa started, ever eager to goad rookies. Kurapika holds up a hand. Now wait a minute, Lia did not know something like this would happen. She only deducted that there was more to this situation than meets the eye. She is right. Frustrated someone yells, "Well, why didn't she tell anybody?" You know, it would be nice if you all could stop talking like I'm not here. I pipe up. I cross my arms. I didn't tell anyone about this because, I hold up a finger. 1. Everyone was excited about having a break on the first day. I would only cause unnecessary stress. 2. If I was wrong, I would be no different from Tampa here. 3. It was the first day. I've never spoken to many of you, and I doubt some of you would listen to a little girl's words, would you? It would only split everyone up. I scan the crowd. My words seemed to calm them down slightly, so I explained myself. I only talk to Kurapika since he's more knowledgeable than me and can keep a cool head. Also, he's my friend. I uncross my arms and give a closed-eyed shrug. Besides, Kurapika and I were going to tell everyone about our suspicions tomorrow. I didn't know that they would bail so soon. The part about me not knowing when they leave is true. I remember the anime clearly, so I have an idea, but that doesn't mean I know the exact time the couple would leave. So, now that everyone's calmed down, I have some news for everyone. Kurapika holds up the logbook I picked up. According to this logbook, there will be a storm that will hit this island very soon. At this, everyone tenses. Then, what are we going to do? Someone in the crowd shouts, panicked. Ponzu and Pakal look at each other and nod. Fast thinkers, huh? We're going to check if there's any way of communicating to the outside on this ship. They volunteered, everyone let them pass, and they hurried up the stairs. Some others went back into the ship too. Geez, what kind of manager would leave 36 guests behind and just take off? Leo Rio squints, hands on hips. Tampa clicks his tongue, yeah. And they charged us a lot too. What the hell are they thinking? But it's not like we paid them with money. Kurapika starts. Tampa glares at Kurapika. We paid with treasure and got our rooms in exchange. It's the same thing. You got that right. Leo Rio turns around. Hey, Tampa, we actually agree on something for a change. No, I agree with Kurapika. Tampa and Leo Rio turn to me, one miffed and one questioning. I continue, we paid with treasures we found, right? Everyone nods, but think about it. If Banner and Jenna ran this hotel for as long as they have said to, then why has none of the treasure been sold off already? Also, if many people come here for a holiday, then chances are, they would take some of the treasure too. I cross my arms, and... What the hell are they thinking? Are you serious? It's the Hunter exam. You should expect something like this to happen. It's suspicious that they would give applicants a 3-day break. Hanzo walks up to everyone, coming back from the ship. Speaking of which, I just checked the manager's room. They left all the treasure behind. At this, everyone realizes. This is part of the Hunter exam. Everyone is deep in thought. One of the Amori brothers breaks the silence. Hey, bro, who's going to cook for us then? Someone who knows how to cook, I guess. Do we have someone like that in this bunch? At this, everyone looks at me. I smile and shrug. Well, since no one else knows how to cook, I don't mind being on cooking duty. I doubt any of you know how to work with the kitchen and the ingredients they've left. Suddenly, as if everyone has a hive mind, they remember that I was the only one to pass the second phase from my own abilities. Everyone is eager for me to take the role. Okay, I'll be on cooking duty. I raise my hands in mock surrender. I look at the sky. Well, it's almost morning, so I should go start making breakfast then. I hope they have enough for at least that, otherwise, I'll need some of you to catch me some fish. I walk off, not waiting for an answer. I pass by Ponzu. She sees me and lets me know they found a radio and is about to tell everyone. I nod and explain that I am on cooking duty since no one knows how to cook. I wish them luck with the radio and continue to the kitchen. Looking in the kitchen, it has the basics at least. I can cook a simple breakfast for everyone. We need good food to keep up the energy and morale. Luckily, they have plenty of condiments. There's also bread. We'll need to eat it fast to avoid it going off. I search the fridge, finding plenty of eggs and ingredients that last a long time. Searching the cupboards nets me some curry roux. Score! Everyone likes curry. I found some canned food too. For 36 people, this will last us for the day. Some people will need to be on fishing duty. After familiarizing myself with everything, I took off my hoodie and used my clip to get my hair out of my face. Washing my hands, I get to work. I grabbed the eggs and bread, planning on making a simple French toast. 2 slices for each person should be enough for everyone. The dish is surprisingly filling after all. I hum while preparing the ingredients, whisking and seasoning the eggs. There is a lot, so it took a while. I put the mix into the fridge and started cutting the bread and bacon. I was done prepping the food, so I go out to say that I can serve breakfast soon, and to wait in the canteen, but it seems everyone gathered to show what they have found. I guess at this rate it's going to be brunch rather than breakfast. Welp, it still works. I'd say. Anyway, Rio found a box of compasses, Hanzo, some measuring tools, and Kurapika found a map in the manager's room. Everyone concludes that the task is to go to Zevil Island ourselves. I don't think it'll be that easy. Kurapika says. Ha! With the map and compass, we can determine what direction to take, but we can't tell the distance. Rio asks for Kurapika to expand on his statement. If we don't know the distance to the island, then we don't know how much food to bring, or how much water. I add in, there's enough food to last us a day, we'll need someone to fish. I'm not sure about water though. We know which direction to go. The sun will be our reference point then on. We'll just cruise without food or water and endure it as part of the exam. Is this guy serious? I was too shocked at how dumb that statement was that I stayed silent. Kurapika rejects the notion, that's too risky. Have you forgotten that the hunter exam is full of traps? He raises the map. If this indeed is part of the exam, this map itself may be a trap. Rio tries to diffuse the tension. Hey, aren't you being too suspicious? I also believe that they want us to find our way to Zevil Island. I don't argue with you there, but we need to be more cautious about how we go about this. There's a storm coming. Kurapika argues. Hanzo steps up, we need to proceed with caution, like Kurapika just said. It sure seems like this could be part of the exam, but it's a lot different from anything else we've had so far. I think we should stick together on this. Bad idea, a new voice cuts in. Everyone looks at Jaretta, the guy with the weird blow dart weapon. Of course, this is part of the exam. And there could even be a time limit. This causes murmurs of apprehension to spread among the crowd. I don't think you should be making statements that make people more nervous. Kurapika raises his voice slightly. Do you have any proof to back that up? I looked inside the water tank. There's hardly any drinking water left at all. At this new piece of information, everyone tenses up in alarm. We'll be dried up if we take too much time. We came here for 3 days. Jaretta holds up his fingers. We lost 1 day scavenging for treasure. Which leaves us with 2. So that must mean that Zevil Island is reachable within 2 days. Kurapika remembers something, and takes out the logbook, and flips through it. Here it is. It's close. It's reachable within a day in a small boat, confirming Jaretta's deduction. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go! At this, everyone starts to split up due to the urgency of the situation. Hanzo tries to keep everyone together, but it doesn't convince them. Kurapika reprimands Jaretta, but he replies saying that taking out competition is part of the exam, and that he doesn't care what happens to others. What a jerk. So, what are we going to do now? Gon says. Rio chides Kurapika, and Sami, the guy with the monkey, splits up, walking away to also find a boat. Hanzo injects, I still think Kurapika's right. But I don't think we should wait around until after dark, especially if there's a storm coming. He then suggests for everyone to scour the ship again and meet up at the bridge when they're done. I interrupt, I came back to tell everyone that I'm ready to make breakfast, but everyone split up. So for now, let's all have. I look up at the sky, I guess it's soon to be brunch now, huh? You guys can search the ship when you're done eating, just let everyone know about it, yeah? Sounds good. Hanzo agreed. With that, everyone goes to the canteen, and I whip up some brunch. Everyone gives thanks in a better mood than before and goes off to search the ship. Soon after, people trickle in for their meal. At least a good meal cheered up everyone. I tried to convince them to help out when they were satisfied, but most of it was a moot point. If I pushed further, it would only split everyone apart even further. I shrug and walk back to the kitchen, preparing curry rice. Wiping my sweat with my arm, I check all the food is ready, it is about time for dinner. I walk to the bridge and open the door, only to see everyone staring out at the distorted sunset, disturbed. The atmosphere. It's distorting. Kurapika blurts out. A few minutes later, Gon startles, I hear it again. Gon leans on the window, that noise. I think it's coming from out at sea. He closes his eyes and listens closely, it's gotten closer. This confuses Rio, but Killua, on the other hand, hears it too, though faintly, it was more faint earlier. But Kurapika relays to everyone that it's the first storm, reciting the passage from the logbook. Suddenly, the sound of the wind picks up, and everyone looks around, alarmed. The storm is coming, I state. I look out of the window and can see the applicants that split off from the group go out to sea. They don't seem to be aware of the ominous wind, they are too distracted in their elation. A waterspout started to form. I follow everyone out onto the deck. That's. Hanzo starts. Tompa exclaims, a waterspout and a whirlpool have merged. The distortion in the atmospheric pressure, the sudden rising of the tide. The phenomenon that's said to happen every 10 years has just begun. Kurapika says in a somber expression. Ah, look. Gon shouts, that ship is being pulled in, he steps forward, they're gonna. Kurapika stops Gon, shouting urgently, to which Gon shouts in protest, it's too late, there's nothing we can do. Kurapika grits his teeth and looks back out to sea. Seconds later, their boat split in half from the force, and they were flung into the waterspout. With a slightly relieved voice, Sami mutters that if his monkey didn't freak out and run away, he would have had the same fate as them. He then spots Jaretta out at sea and shouts. Gon, the reckless but well-meaning boy that he is, couldn't leave him alone, and with no hesitance, dives into the sea. He swims toward Jaretta's boat. Gon! Killua yells, but is stopped by a wave that washes over the deck. Hanzo stops his fall by holding his shoulders. Everyone, back into the ship. Hurry, Hanzo shouts instructions. Everyone starts running back into the battleship. Kurapika stops and turns, Hanzo. The boat! Hanzo shouts at Killua, come on, and he runs off with Killua following. They quickly deploy a small rowboat, and with the addition of Bedoro and Gaz, set off to sea after Gon and Jaretta. I clutch the rope from the deck of the battleship and get ready to pull the small rowboat back into safety. Killua throws the rope to Gon, who catches it successfully. Nodding at Kurapika, everyone pulls. They all get back safely. I shout, ah! Everyone, I made some curry rice, how about we have a nice meal to wait out the storm? Everyone accepts the idea and walks back inside in a somber mood. I was sad that I couldn't stop the people from going out to sea, they were too stubborn. Everyone sits in the canteen, a plate of curry rice in front of them. A heavy atmosphere descends as the boat starts shaking. All we can do is wait at this point. Hanzo states. The wind howls outside. The The storm settles, and everyone has a discussion in the canteen before moving outside. I stay back to wash all of the dishes that piled up. As for how the conversation goes, there's going to be another storm tomorrow. And this time, the whole island will be submerged. Everyone is agitated due to the fact there was no way of leaving the island, but Gon suggests to use the ship we are standing on. Finished with washing dishes, I go back up to the bridge where everyone is. They find that the engine on the battleship still works, and with that, they also found hope. If we can make it afloat and break free. Kurapika suggests. Sounds interesting, Ponzu says in agreement. Hanzo exclaims, switching gears, huh? Instead of running away from the fort, run away with the fort, he puts a hand to his chin. This has gotta be the objective of this phase. In short, we're supposed to work together to escape this crisis. I conclude. Kurapika pivots to look at everyone. Our only problem now is whether or not we can finish all the work done before the second storm arrives. Let's all spread out and check on the condition of this ship. Everyone nods, report back here in an hour, and we all ran off to check on the battleship urgently. 1 hour later. We all reconvene on the bridge, and Hanzo spreads out a blueprint of the ship. He also found the manual. Now, let's list up the things we need to tackle. Kurapika suggests. First of all, we gotta see if we can break the ship loose from all the rocks. Dislodging the sides and the hull shouldn't be too much of a problem. Hanzo proposes. A guy named Q asks if we're going to use explosives, as he is an expert with them. There is plenty of artillery on the ship, and they are still usable. Hanzo states, but our problem is with the bow. It's jammed in against all that rock. It would take a lot of ammo to blow it out of there. Kurapika raises a hand, we'd probably have to use this ship's gun turrets for that. The rusty ships? Killua says doubtfully. Kurapika continues, a steady barrage from each of the 440-centimeter cannons. That's our only hope. Pakal then comes in saying that we'd have to route power to the turrets, and questions if we even have the right ammunition. To this, Leo Rio says that he knows where they are, as he found them while looking for treasure. With that, Ponzu and Pakal head off to the engine room to get it working. We will use explosives to balance out the ship, and Gon and Killua will take care of the propellers, though Killua needed a bit of persuading from Gon. Leo Rio asks Kurapika, do you think we can do it all before the next storm hits? We don't have a choice. Kurapika says grimly. Raising his head, he instructs everyone, all 24 of us here will have to pull together to complete this task. It's the only way to go to Zevil Island. All right, let's go. Leo Rio shouts, and we all run off to start working on the boat. In my case, I am helping Leo Rio with finding the ammunition. I watch as he is lowered with the old-fashioned diving suit. Right now, the progress is faster with my early warning, so we should be free from the rocks and out at sea earlier than Cannon. Hopefully. We bring out the last of the ammunition, avoiding the event where Leo Rio is trapped underwater. We shoot off the attachments from the ship, and we start the operation to free the boat from the rocks. The sounds of a successful engine rumbles, we load the gun turrets, and with sniper aiming, the rocks are now out of the way. Everyone is now out at sea, and the battleship withstood the storm. Morning comes with a beautiful sunrise, and the airship is seen in the distance. The bonus stage is concluded. I sigh in relief. Thankfully, nothing went wrong with my meddling. Chapter 8. Lippo descends from the airship, congratulating and telling us that we only have the 4th and 5th phase left to do. Smiling, he gestures to the island in the distance. The 4th phase will take place over there, on Zevil Island. Now, let us proceed. Snapping his fingers, a staff member brings out a trolley. I will need you to draw lots. The crowd mumbled curiously, lots? Jaretta asked, no one in particular. For what? Pakal says. A shadow falls on Lippo's face as he smiles. To determine who will hunt and who will be hunted, he raises his hand to indicate the box, and here are 24 numbered cards. In other words, your ID numbers are on the cards. He points his finger up. Now, I need each of you to draw a card, in the order by which you exited the tower. He extends a hand. Now, will the first person come forward? I calmly walk towards the box, earning looks of surprise from everyone. Sending a peace sign to everyone, I take out a card from the box and stroll back. Whoa! I didn't know you came first, Lia. Amazing! Gon says brightly. Ma. Well, I was with Hisoka dash. Gay, Hisoka? Leo Rio sputters. In the tower, so it was a given I managed to come down quickly. He was being creepy, so I took first as payback. I stick out my tongue with an indifferent face. At this, everyone sweats, half worried of me being heard by Hisoka and half exasperated. Leo Rio pats me. Well, I'm glad you're okay and in one piece. You're pretty strong. Killua comments. I smile at Leo Rio and look up in thought, maybe. I answer Killua, shrugging. Hey, Killua, Lia. Gon says. I made a noise of acknowledgement along with Killua. He said something about hunting and being hunted. Does that mean we'll be fighting each other? He asked. Killua takes his signature relaxed pose. Yeah, probably. He whistles as he walks to the box to take a card after Kurapika. Killua comes back, and Gon goes to take a card too, returning to us. Leo Rio and Tonpa take a card. Everyone's taken a card? Lippo states, meeting no voices of disagreement. He continues, then, remove the seal from your card. Ripping it off, I see the number 80, it's Cyper. Lippo smirks. The card indicates your target, and with that, people take off their badges and look at each other suspiciously. I saw no need to take off my card, so I left it on me. Lippo continues, saying that the box recorded which card we took and that the objective is to take our target's plate. One of the Amori brothers was relieved that you didn't have to kill anyone, but it was soon dashed. Naturally, you're free to use any method you choose to steal the ID cards. Lippo closes his eyes. Including killing your target and taking the tag off the corpse. The other brother seems to think otherwise though, stating with a smirk that it was the quickest way. Lippo lifts his hand skywards, explaining that your target's ID tag is worth 3 points and that your own is the same. Every other tag is worth 1 point. You need 6 points to advance to the final phase. With that announcement, we were passed on to Kara, who congratulated us for passing the 3rd phase. Her cheerful speech was dampened by the tense atmosphere, though. We were sent off to do whatever on the ship for the 2 hours. I perch on the railing, gazing out at sea and the sky. The weather is clear, with seagulls squawking in the distance. I close my eyes, the wind carries my hair and the salty scent of the sea. Gon sits next to me, and we are in comfortable silence. Soon, Killua joins us. Yo, he greeted, before sitting next to Gon. We sit there for a few minutes. What number did you both draw? Killua starts. You'll also like. How about you? Gon asks back. Killua stares nonchalantly at the sky. Secret, he answered. There was a few seconds of quiet, and they suddenly pulled a goofy pose. I smile at their antics. Don't worry, both of you aren't my targets. Same here, I answer. Gon glances at both of us, and my targets aren't you guys either, he smiles. We decide to show our targets at the same time. Gon with 44 and Killua with 199. I pat Gon, who has a resigned smile. Good luck with Hisoka. Seriously? You really have bad luck. Killua comments. Sheepishly, Gon says you really think so? He looks down at Killua's card, who's number 199. I answer, that's one of the brothers. I nod, I have the woman with sunglasses. Kilua looks impressed, leaning back over the railing. Good thing you knew. I didn't bother to memorize everyone's numbers. He closes his eyes. Gon looks back down at his card. After the initial explanation, I started checking tags. Kilua pulls a miffed face, but everyone had already removed them. That's so lame. As he looks at Gon, he notices that he is shaking and sits up. Gon. This brings Gon back to attention. What? Kilua smirks, asking if he was happy or scared. Gon looks up and thinks for a bit, before answering, both, I guess. In a straight-up fight, I wouldn't stand a chance. But if I only need to steal his ID tag, then I have a real shot. Kilua and I give a sound of agreement. Right now, I might actually have a chance. That scares me a little. But I think it's worth it. I see. Kilua agrees, closing his eyes. He stands up to pick up his skateboard. Well, let's do our best. He walks a little before looking back. Make sure you stay alive, Gon. Yes. Gon nods, you too, Kilua, and gives a thumbs up. I watch the exchange with a smile. You can do it, Gon. I cheered him on. Thinking about it, he could do with a small warning at least, though make sure you watch your own back too. I advised. Gon nods, giving a bright smile. I pet his head and go back to sky gazing. The battleship arrives at Zevil Island, and Kara explains what is going to happen. I strolled off the ship. Looking back, I waved at the Gon squad before going into the forest, with a skip in my steps. Not that I disliked their company, but it was nice to be alone sometimes. She's really easygoing, huh? I could hear Leo Rio comment in the distance. Ma, time to find somewhere to camp out, I guess. A few minutes later, I find a small waterfall that looks similar to where Lumi encounters Gauze. Squatting down and supporting my head with my hands, I take a look at the clear water, watching fish dance to and fro within the water. I gaze at the surrounding forest, dappled sunlight on the forest floor. Deciding on a tree, I climb up and rest. I can't really say trees are that comfortable to rest in. I take off my hoodie and use it as a cushion. Hugging my backpack, Blue peeks out. Oh, hey Blue. We're in the 4th phase, we'll be hanging out in this tree for a day or two. I pat the tree, yawning, well I guess I'll meditate until I hear some activity. I pet Blue, thanking him for checking up on me. Closing my eyes, I listen to the sound of nature. The leaves rustled, and animals went on with their business, for now, undisturbed by people. The relaxing sounds of the waterfall lull me into a peaceful calmness. I gradually settle into Zetsu. A bird lands on my shoulder. At one point, I sense a presence watching me, but it wasn't hostile and didn't move from their spot. It's probably one of the observers for this exam. Poor guy will have to watch me do nothing for ages. 16 hours later. A beam of light hits my face. I squint and stretch. A bird that was perched on my flitted to another branch. I probably meditated to the next day. Right on time, a ping for my daily quest arrives. Meditating is an excellent way to pass the time. It feels nice, and it trains your nen at the same time. It's excellent, though it doesn't beat actual sleep in terms of restfulness. Welp, time to do my daily quest, and look for my target at the same time. I pick up any item spots I find along the way. I also have no worries about food or water as it's all stored in my backpack. My steps are silent as I run through the forest. The animals seem disturbed from the new activity from the other participants. I came across some other people, but didn't pay them any mind. They didn't sense my presence. I finish my training and eventually, I find Cyper, who is on guard and searching for Gitteracre. Well, we're supposed to be hunting, so I'll just tail her. I nibbled on the ration bar I prepared for this occasion. Even if she can't sense me, it's best to stay as quiet as possible and blend into the sounds of nature. A day passed, and throughout this Cyper finds her target and is tailing him. Though she still keeps her guard up due to the nature of the exam. Alumi melts into the stream and finds Gauze, who is looking at his reflection in the water. At this point, I move onto the tree above Cyper, who is taking aim with her sniper rifle. Alumi takes the chance to launch a surprise attack on Gauze. Before she can shoot, I drop down from above and knock her out. Alumi is looking in this direction. I pick up Cyper and dash away. I am still in Zetsu, but Alumi has seen me already. As long as he loses his sight on me, I should be fine. I ran into the forest with Cyper on my back and eventually came into the area with giant trees. I jump directly up and start jumping from tree to tree instead. The speed at which I'm going makes it seem like I was weightless jumping branch to branch. Finally, I am far enough away from Alumi. Both Cyper and I aren't his targets, so it was a needless effort to pursue us. Still, I sprint until I find somewhere appropriate to put Cyper down safely. I found a nook in a tree and put her in it, finding the tag. Payment for saving your life, no hard feelings, all right? I murmur, pocketing it. Thinking about it, I should leave some food and water just in case she can't get down. We're pretty far up after all. I take out a few water bottles and ration bars and leave them next to her. As for her weapon, I left it behind. With my hunt done, I jump down from the tree and walk off to find somewhere to kill time. Within a few minutes, though, I ran into Killua. He was in the middle of his confrontation with the Amori brothers. He swapped and threw the tags far into the distance to the dismay of the trio. Hanzo jumps into the distance after a tag. I jog up to Killua and greet him, "Yo. Killua, fancy meeting you here. Did you just get your tag?" I give an easygoing grin. Killua smirks, "Yup, did you see the looks on their faces when I threw their tags?" "It was hilarious," he chuckles, "so, how about you?" I just got my tag, now I just need to find something to do for the rest of the exam. I answer nonchalantly. Killua puts his hands behind his head, same here. He closes his eyes and sighs, it's going to be boring waiting for the end of the exam. We stroll together in the forest until we reach a lake. I sit on the grass and lay down, hugging my bag. I close my eyes, relaxing. I hear shuffling and sense Killua settle beside me. Hey, I open my eyes looking at Killua, who is looking at me curiously. How about your family? We never really got to it before that old man interrupted. Killua clarifies. I hum, closing my eyes in thought, well, I'm an only child. My mother died in an accident when I was 8. I had Dad who raised me with all the love in the world, but he's gone now too. I open my eyes slowly, smiling wistfully. From what I can remember, my mother, she was very busy, to say the least, so I never got to see her much. She's a really gung-ho woman though, the opposite of Dad. I shrug, I came from an ordinary family. I laugh softly. I see. Killua remarks, gazing at me as if trying to read my expression. The wind tousles our hair. Are you sad? He supports his head with his hand, rolling to look in my direction. I reply, of course I love my family after all. I smiled sadly, blinking slowly. Killua seems surprised for a multitude of reasons. Ma, it's okay, you don't need to look so surprised. I giggle faintly. I close my eyes again. Moments later, I feel something soft caressing my head. Opening an eye, I glance at Killua, who's petting me. He's looking away though, and his ears are red. I closed my eye before he could notice my gaze and smile, deciding not to tease him. We spend the rest of the day in comfortable silence. The next day I come out of my meditative state. Killua is still there, though he seems to have silently taken the role of a night watch. Thank you for taking night watch, Killua, I'll do it next time. I stretch, we'll be here for a week after all. I smile at Killua thankfully. No problem, Killua says in response. Standing up, the reminder for the daily quest comes up, and so I start my exercise. I'm going to do some basic exercises now. You can join me if you want. I start to stretch and warm up. Killua looks at me curiously before starting to warm up himself. Sure, it's better than doing nothing. We completed it quickly, though Killua seemed confused as to why there were only 100 sit-ups and push-ups. Why only 100 of each? That's so few, he asked. It came from a manga I read a long time ago. The guy could defeat anything in one punch. It was pretty funny. I start running, Killua follows. That's why. Killua retorts, incredulous. I laugh at his reaction. We finish up the exercise quickly. Thanks for keeping me company, Killua. I smile happily. He blushes for some reason. Why, you don't have to thank me for something like this, idiot. He pouts. He's blushing again, must pet. Thinking this, I pet him. I could get used to this. Why do you keep touching my head? Killua asks me, flustered. Because your reactions are cute. I think. But I can't say that so, because your hair is soft, I like petting it. Killua is surprised by my answer. Killua sighs, just do what you want, he says, resigned, and looks away. I smile, slightly smug. Suddenly, I sensed bloodlust from quite a distance. Wow, Hisoka, keep it in, please. I stopped petting Killua and looked in the direction I felt the bloodlust. Looks like something came up. See you, Killua. He tilts his head, curious, but nonchalantly answers, sure, see ya. I sprint and use Zetsu. Sensing Hisoka and 2 other people close together. It must be Kurapika and Rio. Staying where I am, I rely on my senses to know what's happening. The 2 back away further into the forest, and Hisoka's killing intent, still strong, permeates in the air. He stalks his next victim, possessed by his bloodlust. Eventually, he happens upon Agon, the guy with the blue cloak, and without hesitation, lunges to kill. Before his strike could meet Agon, I blocked the attack by flicking a rock, and another one to knock out Agon. At the same time, Gon takes Hisoka's badge. Hisoka's bloodlust scatters, surprised at his tag being taken and by his attack being blocked. He looks in Gon's direction with amazement. I take this chance to grab Agon and leg it out of there. Gon gets the same idea as he sees me dash away, and I sense that we went in opposite directions. Blue jumps out of my backpack to go after Gon. I rummage through Agon's cloak to find his tag and throw it in the general direction of Hisoka while running, hoping he doesn't come after us. Some minutes later, I am far away enough from danger. I tie Agon to a tree. He should wake up soon and take care of himself. I left his arms free after all. With his safety ensured, I run back to check up on Gon, making sure I am still in Zetsu. Blue manages to save Jiretta, though the man is at the brink of death, passed out. Hisoka is standing over Gon, wearing Jiretta's hat and talking to him. Once he is done with his tirade, he punches Gon. I grit my teeth. Once his presence fades far away into the forest, I jump down from the tree in front of Gon. I signal Blue to start treating Jiretta. I don't ask if Gon's okay, and silently start by helping him sit up instead. Elia. Gon croaks, struggling with the poison and looking vexed. SHH, it's okay. You just got to get stronger and beat him next time, okay? I offer with a gentle smile. I look over his cheek, it looks painful. It would be bruised for weeks on an average person, but this is gone. I take out some medicinal balm I had in the inner pockets of my hoodie and treat him. He winces from my touch. Sorry, I couldn't come back sooner. I had to make sure Hisoka's victim wasn't immediately killed after I left. Gon doesn't say anything and looks down. Smiling sadly at this, I pick him up and carry him to the alcove under the tree roots. I set off to check on Jiretta. He's alive and looking a lot better than he was before. With help from Blue, Jaretta could maintain the pretense of being dead despite taking a lethal hit to the throat. I carried Jaretta away, far from Gon. He won't be waking up anytime soon though, and by the time he wakes up, he would have already lost all traces of Gon's location. As for his weapon, I threw it away somewhere on the island. I rush back to Gon, he's still looking down. Upon seeing me, he says quietly in frustration, "Even though you warned me." "Sorry," he grits his teeth. "No, it's okay. You don't need to apologize." I punch the air, "Just make sure to train and give Hisoka his promised punch next time, 'kay?" I pat him on the shoulder, "Focus on recovering, I'll help you," encouraging him. "I have a feeling you would like to be left alone for now though, so I'll do that soon." I went back to where the tags are and put them beside Gon in the alcove. I set the fishing rod beside the tree. Crawling into the alcove, I help him drink some water and feed him my ration bars. I quickly left and used Setsu, jumping up a tree to meditate. Throughout all of this, he was unresponsive. From where I am a few hours later, I could faintly hear Gon saying "thank you, Lia," quietly under his breath, before drifting off to sleep. I hear Gon scream in the middle of the night. The wind is howling loudly. This must be when he has his flashback to the encounter with Hisoka's killing intent. Standing up and jumping down from the tree, I jog lightly to where Gon is and find him shivering. Ah, it must be cold down there. I closed my eyes and sensed my surroundings. The wind must have covered Gon's scream. There was no one around us. Crawling into the alcove, I take off my hoodie and cover Gon with it. While I was at it, I sat down and gave him a lap pillow. A proper sleeping position makes it less likely for a nightmare to happen, after all. I see him relax a bit, and his breathing evens out. He's back to sleep. I start to meditate again, keeping my senses sharp just in case my presence has changed anything. I didn't have to worry, though, as the next morning comes with no problem. The notification for my daily quest was a few hours ago, but my current situation is like when a small animal sleeps on you. I don't want to wake him up, so, resigned to my fate, I just sit and pet his hair until he does. Feeling him shift, I open my eyes to see him looking at me curiously. "Good morning," I smile kindly. "Lia? What are you doing here?" Gon rasps. In response, I help him drink some water. "You had a nightmare and was shivering. Sorry if I made you uncomfortable." Gon shakes his head at my apology. He shakily sits up. "No, it's fine. Thank you for helping me, Lia," he offers a subdued smile. I felt that he wanted to be left alone again, so I crawled out of the tree. I know he can take care of himself since he did that in the show, but if I can help a little, then I will. I guess it's selfish on my part. Gon is probably feeling worse about himself. I look over my shoulder. "I'll come back later, Gon. If you want to talk about it later, feel free to," he nods in response, and I go away to do my daily quest. A few hours later I come back. Gon is struggling to walk back to the tree. He's soaked from the nearby stream. I run over to him. "I'm back," I greet and gently start helping him sit under the tree. I sit down next to him and rummage through my backpack for food. I couldn't do anything. Gon eventually grits out, disheartened from the events. "Against Hisoka and Jaretta?" I ask quietly, looking over at him. He curls up. "Yeah." He frowns and hides his face in his arms. I put a hand on his back. "It sounds like a very frustrating situation. I would be angry at myself too if I was in your position." I almost add on another apology for not being there when it happened, but my apology is not what Gon needs right now, so I stop myself. I'm not very good at cheering up people. I admit, but I continue softly, "But I'm here for now. I believe that you can pay Hisoka back." At this, I feel Gon relax a bit. I look at Blue, conveying with my eyes that he did a good job. Blue settles on my lap, looking proud of himself. The next day comes quietly, and Gon has recovered from the poison. He's sorting out his backpack and pauses when he sees Jing's hunter license. Some light comes back into his eyes, and he decides on something. He calls over to me with a bright grin, "Lia. Thank you for helping me, but I think I'll go by myself now." I smile in response, "Okay, Gon, it was my pleasure. I'll see you at the end." Gon packs up quickly, jumping up to stand. He brushes off some dirt and runs into the forest, waving at me, and I wave back, walking in the opposite direction. The rest of the fourth phase was spent in peace for me. I just meditated and meandered through the island with Blue on my head. Zetsu is really useful in situations like this. I'm starting to become bored with my current situation, though. Strolling, I reach another lake and sit by it. I take out my phone and play some games and browse the internet. Eventually, I settled on reading some books. I passed the time on the rest of the test in this way. The announcement for the end of the test finally came, and I bound back to where the boat was. I look out at sea, one hand twirling my hair, waiting for the people who passed to show up. "Yo." Killua greets me, I nod and smile in response. Kara walks off the boat, "Then we will now check the tags of everyone here." She announces all of the applicants that qualify and is present in the area. "So 7 applicants have passed?" She looks up and exclaims in mild surprise, "Oh?" I glance over my shoulder to see the rest of the Gon squad. I wave with a happy grin while Killua calls out enthusiastically to Gon. "Ah." 3 more arrived at the last second. Killua, "Lia." Gon greets, giving us a thumbs up. I shoot one back. Announcing that the 3 have passed, she concludes the 4th phase with 10 applicants qualifying for the 5th and last phase. Meanwhile, the unlucky person who got Lia as their target laments that he wasn't even able to obtain a tag, let alone find Lia in the first place. His badge was taken too on top of that. He Peppa hands somewhere on the island. Chapter 9. Everyone is back on the airship and is preparing for what to come. I stood with Rio, Kurapika and Gon. "Good job on passing, guys. I knew you could do it." I smile. Leorio's face suddenly turns serious. "Thanks, but I was pathetic." Rio scratches the back of his head. "I needed Kurapika's and Gon's help during the 4th phase. He pulls a determined face. "I promise I'll return the favor," but then he flushes and looks away, "So thanks, you too." We smile at him, and I pat his back. The intercom on the ship starts up. I have an announcement for all applicants. We turn our attention to the speakers. We would like everyone to come to the meeting room for further instructions. At this, we all look at each other. Nodding, we walk together to the meeting room. We arrive at the meeting room with the other applicants, and a few minutes later, the examiners file into the room. Netero coughs. "First, I'd like to commend you on your hard work. The 10 of you here make up all who passed the 4th phase, though I'm a little surprised to discover that 7 out of the 10 are rookies." He smiles. "This year has been extraordinary," he exclaims, laughing. Netero continues, "On average, 1 rookie passes the hunter exam every 3 years or so, but there's something like a cycle to these things. After about 10 years or so with no one passing, suddenly there's a year like this one where we have so many talented young applicants. So that makes us the talented young applicants." Rio chuckles. Kurapika side-eyes him and says, "You shouldn't say that yourself. For one thing, we haven't exactly passed the exam yet. There's nothing to be nervous about." Hanzo interjects, "We've made it this far, we've just as good as passed this thing. I mean, after all, this is the final phase, you know. And if we manage to pass it, then we will become members of the elite society of hunters." Hanzo leans in and smirks. Isn't that right, Mr. Chairman? With a deadpan face, Netero replies, Gee, you sure talk a lot for a ninja. The final phase will take place in 3 days' time at the Hunter Association Hotel. Until then, I suggest you try and get some rest. With that, the examiners start filing out of the room. Just one question, what's the final phase gonna be? Rio asks. Waving a finger in the air, Netero cheekily replies, It's a secret. What the? Rio retorts as Netero laughs. Oh ho ho, gives you guys something to look forward to. Netero shouts from outside of the room. Evening comes, and the lights turn on. Most of us sit around in a circle. Hisoka is making a card tower at the side, and Illumi is in the corner. Hanzo makes conversation. Last time we were on this airship, it was completely packed. Now with only 9 of us on board, it sure feels empty. What that old man Netero was saying before, I sure don't like the sound of it. I wonder what he's got in store for us. Rio states, vigilant. Kurapika replies, at this stage, there's no use worrying about stuff like that. Groaning, Rio gripes, Yua. Would you stop being such a downer? Everyone here is all tense, so the least you could do is lighten the mood. Oh. I didn't realize, taken aback, Kurapika replies and scans everyone sitting in the circle. Rio looks down, closing his eyes. Besides, we've all worked so hard to get this far. Wouldn't it be nice if we could all pass together? Crossing his arms and chuckling, that's unlike you. Killua remarks. You'll also like. What did you say? Killua says in a teasing voice, back when we were in Trick Tower, you said you would do anything to pass the test, even if it meant fighting your friends. So what? That was then, this is now. Rio flusters. In any case, it's pointless for us rookies to speculate. How about we just ask someone who's gone through it already? Hanzo suggests. Kurapika agrees along with Rio. They both look at Pakal, who waves his arms in the air saying that he failed the 4th phase 3 years ago. Hanzo grumbles at this, with Pakal retorting. Everyone eventually turns to Bedoro, prompted by Kurapika, but it turns out he failed the 1st phase last time. However, I think I can predict the topic for our final test. Bedoro starts. Rio waves his arm and says doubtfully, yeah, like hell you can. Anyway, listen. If you think back to what the tests were about so far, you'll probably arrive at the same conclusion as me. Bedoro continues, nonplussed. He then goes on to describe each phase, explaining what they were testing. Most of us lean in, anticipating his prediction for the final phase. Bedoro opens his eyes thoughtfully, concluding that essentially, final phase will be a paper test. At this, everyone gives an exclamation of shock, Pakal making the scream pose. Hisoka's cards fall over. Kurapika, a voice of consideration. I blink, trying to hold my laughs in. We've come all this way, for a written exam? Rio stutters in disbelief. I start giggling uncontrollably, holding my stomach and covering my mouth. Everyone looks at me. I am sorry, everyone's faces, it's too much, haha. Gon comments sheepishly, Lia, you sure do laugh easily in these situations, huh? Pakal looked the most funny. I state seriously, before going back to giggling. What is this conversation? Killua deadpans, sweat dropping. Kurapika puts a hand to his chin after giving me an exasperated smile. Certainly as a hunter, one might encounter a situation that requires expert knowledge in a variety of subjects like history or biology. Why, you're right. A thorough exam should address both physical and academic ability. Hanzo considers while sweating. Rio facepalms, this really sucks. Didn't think they would leave the toughest one for me in the end. I haven't done any studying in years. Pakal panics, pulling his hair. I was hiding a smile behind my mouth, finding their predicament amusing. Killua and Gon seem indifferent to the problem though. I know. Hanzo blurts, there's a library right on this airship. At this, the majority of us ran to the library. I just walked behind them. I overheard Bedoro's comment, well, I really had no idea and was just talking nonsense, but... He looks up and puts a hand to his chin and shouts, oh, well. Is that so? Hisoka nonchalantly comments in the background. Pfft. I look away, shoulders shaking. Gon looks out of the window, staring at the sunset. Kurapika calls out to him, what's the matter? Aren't you going to study? He swivels his head towards Kurapika. I don't think a little studying at this point would do me any good. I'm not very good at using my head anyway. Gon laughs sheepishly. Kurapika remarks, I guess we are all good at doing our own things. Killua and Lia are taking a break in the cafeteria. I see. Gon looks out of the window again. Putting a hand on the railing, Kurapika says solemnly, Gon. During the fourth phase. What exactly happened? There's a pause, and Kurapika clarifies, when we met up, I noticed you were acting a little strange. And you've been somewhat subdued since we left Zevil Island. It stuck with me. Gon starts, my target was Hisoka. I see. What terrible luck. Kurapika says with sympathy. I waited for the second he let his guard down and snagged his badge at once. But someone else was tailing me too, and he got me with a poison dart. My badge was taken just like that. Gon explains joylessly, and later, Hisoka came looking for me. He gave my badge back to me. And he intentionally left his own badge with me. He said that I owed him now. A pause. When I told him I didn't want it, he sent me flying. And then Lia came and helped me. Lia? Kurapika asks curiously. Gon's shoulders shake, yes. She helped by treating me and keeping me company. I was so angry with myself and mortified that I couldn't do anything about Hisoka. Tears of frustration stream down Gon's face as he grits his teeth. After a few seconds, he wipes them furiously with his arm. After that, I felt so wretched and miserable. I felt my power was far from what it takes. I felt pathetic passing the exam like that. I guess I wanted at least to be of help to someone else, like Lia was for me. And that's why I came looking for you and Leo Rio. Kurapika acknowledges him, I see. Thanks a lot. I feel better now that I've got that off my chest. Gon says a bit more cheerfully. That frustration and lack of confidence. If you want to get over the way you felt, you have to become a hunter. It's something you said yourself before. Yeah. Leo Rio and I would never have made it this far without your help. And for that, I'm truly grateful. Kurapika looks at Gon sincerely. Eyes shining, Gon exclaims, so am I, of course. Let's both become hunters together, Gon. Kurapika encourages. Yeah. I'd also like to say thank you, Kurapika. Gon says brightly. Simultaneously. Leo Rio, Hanzo and Pakal are cramming for the supposed paper test. While Liao relaxed and had tea with Killua, waiting for the announcement of the interview. Soon after, Hisoka is called up. When your number is called, please come to the first reception room on the second floor. Then we will start with number 44, Hisoka-sama. Killua, let's go wait at the chairman's office, Lia suggests, smiling. Killua looks at Lia and agrees, sounds good, and nonchalantly jumps on his feet. Seeing this, Lia strolls off to the office alongside him. Netero greets Hisoka as he walks in, telling him to take his seat. The jester, with a snide smile, inquires whether this was the final phase, and Netero answers cryptically. Hisoka's smile widens dangerously and takes a seat on the cushion. First off, the old man asks him why he wanted to be a hunter, and in response, Hisoka says he wasn't particularly interested in being a hunter, but darkly remarks that hunters aren't punished for killing. Netero made no reaction to this, acting like Hisoka was just talking about the weather. I see. Then I'll move on to the next question. Which of the other 8 applicants are you keeping an eye on? He strokes his beard. The clown answers, number 11 and number 99. Ah. Netero hums. Hisoka continues, number 405 is also on my radar, but it's number 11 and number 99 I'm keeping an eye on. I would love to take number 99 on one day. His voice lowers maliciously, while the one I most want to fight is number 11, he murmurs, chuckling. Taking this in stride, Netero asks the next question, one last question. Which of the other 8 applicants would you least want to fight? That would be number 405. Though number 99 is also up there. Hisoka puts a hand to his chin like he was choosing candy at a sweet store. If you're asking whom I least want to fight at this moment, my answer would be number 405. Ah, I understand. A shadow falls on Hisoka's face as he smiles. I should mention that the one I most want to fight at this moment is you. Netero is nonplussed, looking at the sheet. Yep, nice job. You're excused, prompting Hisoka to leave the room. The announcement for Lia comes up next, and she waves a peace sign at Killua before skipping to the office. Killua watches her, amused, as she completely ignores Hisoka looking at her creepily, licking his lips. She opens the door after knocking. Lia is prompted by Netero to take a seat, and she sits in a seiza position on the pillow. The first question is asked. She looks up, humming, I'm watching number 405. Number 99, number 403 and number 404 for positive reasons, while for negative it is number 44 and number 301. Who do you least want to fight? She crosses her arms and tilts her head. As for who I least want to fight, I don't really mind, but I would like to avoid fighting the people I'm watching for positive reasons, number 405 especially. Netero hums, his expression not giving any thoughts away. That's everything, thank you for your time. Smiling, Lia answers, sure, see you in with a small bow. She strolls out of the door. Pockle. I'm watching out for number 404 and number 11. They both seem to be the most balanced applicant left. His face turns serious. I definitely don't want to fight number 44 and number 11. To be honest, I doubt I can beat them. Killua. He answers confidently, has to be gone, since we're the same age, and Lia. Killua looks up, I don't want to fight number 53. I don't think it'd be a very interesting fight. Badoro. I've got my eye on number 44. He has real presence. Number 405, number 99 and number 11 are still children. I couldn't bring myself to fight them. Illumi Gitaraker. Illumi answers efficiently, joints creaking, number 99. Number 44. Gone. Who am I watching out for? Number 44, Hisoka. A lot's happened, so I've been watching him. Gon sheepishly answers the second question. I can't choose one out of number 99, number 11, number 403, and number 404. Hanzo. It has to be number 44. He's the most dangerous one here. Oh, and number 11. And number 44 is the one I least want to fight. Kurapika. I'm watching number 405 for positive reasons, and number 44 for negative reasons. If I'm given ample reason, I'll fight anyone. If not, I would prefer not to fight anyone. Leo Rio. Number 405. I owe him, and I hope that he passes the exam. So I'm hoping I don't have to fight number 405. After all the interviews were conducted, Netero hummed to himself, slightly amused by the skewed results. A few days later, we all arrive at the location where the final phase is being taken. Everyone stands to attention in the room, watching Netero. Well, lady and gentlemen, did you get plenty of rest? This hotel is owned by the Hunter Exam Selection Committee. The place is all yours until the battles have concluded. A member of staff wheels a covered whiteboard into the room. For the final phase, we will be holding a one-on-one tournament. At this, Netero unveils the board. There are various exclamations at what was on the board. Rio asks, so only the last person standing passes? No. Netero holds up a finger. One win is all you need to pass. Gon questions, one win? Then, in this tournament, Rio mutters. The chairman explains, the winners are removed from competition, while the losers continue up the bracket. He points his index finger at the top of the board, in other words, the person who finishes at the top will not pass. Netero clarifies, does everyone understand now? So you're saying that only one person will fail? Hanzo says, understanding. Exactly. With this, everyone is silent, understanding the situation. Seeing this, Netero unveils the bracket. I take a look at it, and it seems I'm going to be fighting Hisoka after Kurapika. I've been placed pretty high since I have 4 chances. Impressive, right? After all, everyone has at least 2 chances to win. Netero says nonchalantly. There is some fuss about how the bracket came to be. So in result, Netero explained that it is based on our performance in the exam. Killua has a problem with this though, and asked how we were scored. Netero thought for a moment. No, he comically yelled, shaking his head. I covered my mouth and looked away. Why not? Killua protested, slightly shaken at the flamboyant refusal. The old man explained that it is classified information on how we are scored, but they take into account our physical and mental strength as well as our overall impression. This was only a reference point, though, since we were all strong enough to be in the final phase. In other words, the overall impression was what they were most concerned with. There was also the fact that everyone's opinion is taken into account. I likely ranked lower since I wasn't really going to go out and hunt something in particular, plus, I wasn't that selfish, which seems to be a trait in every aspiring hunter. Shrugging in my mind, I look to Killua, who is gritting his teeth. Yawning, I pat his shoulder, getting his attention. It can also mean that you'll need less help with passing this. I whisper encouragingly. Hearing this, he gives me a smug smile. Netero explains the rules, and the final phase starts. Hanzo cracks his wrists and Gon ties his shoelaces. Then, we shall begin the exam's final phase. The first match is Hanzo versus Gon. Please step forward. The two walk to the designated area and look at each other, the atmosphere tense. The referee introduces himself and wishes the two luck, but is interrupted by Hanzo. Hey, good to see you again. You were tailing me during the 4th phase, he greets. You noticed? The referee stated. Naturally. I'm assuming that each applicant was assigned an examiner for the 4th phase. Well, I'm sure everyone else noticed. This throws some people off, and Hanzo thanks the referee for giving him a high score. After confirming the rules with the referee, the match starts. Like in the show, Gon gets beat up. I don't look away from the beating, clenching my fist. When Rio loudly protests, I side-eye him and Kurapika. I don't think Gon will give up, he's too stubborn. Crossing my arms, I close my eyes. This is Gon's fight, so I will believe in him. With my words, they look at me. I stared back at both of them. The expression in my eyes seemed to calm them down, but the beating continued for 3 more hours. Rio couldn't take it anymore, shouting angrily, but was stopped by the other referees. Gon reassures him, and soon after, Hanzo breaks his arm. I look on, my eyes unwavering. Rio grits his teeth, shaking, and Kurapika's eyes turn scarlet. The ninja starts to do a one-finger handstand, talking about his background. Gon launches a surprise attack, kicking his face. Rio starts cheering, yes. Gon, go! Kick him while he's down. Kurapika and I share a look and smile, exasperatedly at him. With blood running from his nose, Hanzo states with a straight face, I let you kick me on purpose. Liar! Rio points, hollering. It was ignored, though I did chuckle. The ninja threatens, you don't understand. This isn't a warning. It's an ultimatum. Was it too hard for you to understand? Then I'll make it easier for you. He draws out his hidden blade from his bandages. I'll cut off your legs, so that they can't be reattached. Hanzo makes a few test swings. A permanent injury should help to wake you up. But first, I'll ask you once more. He glares at Gon, surrender. Gon shouts his refusal, I won't accept that. Everyone freezes. I don't want my legs cut off, but I don't want to surrender. So let's find a different way to fight. Hey! Do you understand your own situation? Hanzo shouts, fuming. Quite literally, at that. The dark atmosphere in the room brightens. I start giggling. Faced with Gon's stubbornness and being taken at Gon's pace, he threatens him one last time, before surrendering by himself. Gon, not satisfied with the result, earns himself a punch in the face again, courtesy of Hanzo. He is knocked out and taken away to get treatment. Hanzo confirms with Netero that Gon will not be able to give back his license and goes back on the sidelines. The next match is with Kurapika and Hisoka. The Kurta draws his sword in preparation while Hisoka plays with his cards. They take a few swings at each other and both dodge each other's attacks with inches to spare. A few moments later, Hisoka breaks one of Kurapika's swords and the match starts going in Hisoka's favor. However, Kurapika manages to counter Hisoka's card throw by catching and throwing it back, following up with a hit to the gut with the pommel of his sword. Kurapika quickly retreats, and the clown's bloodlust spikes. Hisoka seems to calm down and walks up to Kurapika. He leans down to whisper something to him, before surrendering the match. It is Kurapika's win. Next is Hanzo versus Pakal. Pakal is quickly outmatched and concedes when Hanzo threatens to not go easy on him, facing the same situation as Gon did. Afterwards, it is Hisoka against me. I close my eyes and take a deep breath, stretching a little to loosen my muscles. I pull off the section which sheaths my sword from my backpack. My sword is still sheathed. I take it with me to the match area. Facing Hisoka, who is smiling in anticipation, I take my stance. I stare him down like I do when facing boss monsters in dungeons. This excites Hisoka, and his bloodlust once again permeates the room. Narrowing my eyes, I hear a vague begin before launching off at Hisoka. I think I heard a Spanish guitar for a moment, though. I unsheath my sword in one motion, throwing away the sheath and cutting through Hisoka's cards. Reaching Hisoka quickly, I slash upwards. The cut tears his shirt a little as he dodged backwards. Hisoka's eyes roll to the back of his head, groaning. I use Gyo, taking the time to assess the situation. He attached his nin to my leg and my sword. Before he could recover, I pounce, pivoting behind him, before attempting to stab him. My sword was flung out of my hands, and he used it with his nin to counter. A few strands of my hair is cut as I dodge the blade coming at my face. The sword is lodged in the ceiling. My face stony, I engaged in hand-to-hand combat, getting a few hits in. Hisoka is as fast as me, though, and I couldn't avoid getting hit and slashed by his cards. I am bleeding quite a bit, and my blood painted the floor. I keep the fight as fundamentally simple as possible, sticking to punching and kicking, so he won't get the chance to trick me with his bungee gum. Suddenly, I was knocked off balance, but anticipating this and before he could grab me, I used the momentum to land a roundhouse kick to his face. Still spinning, I knocked him off his feet. Straddling him, I took out a knife hidden on me in one motion and brought it to his throat, panting. Surrender. I demand. Even if his arms are still free, I can sense when he will attack, so I'm not too worried. We were both equally beat up, and I am slightly dizzy from blood loss. Hisoka, the bloodthirsty joker that he is in euphoria. I carefully control my expression, so it doesn't look like Tanjiro when he meets Zenitsu. If I feel something ominous on my back, I won't say anything. Rio shouts something in concern and disgust, along with everyone in the room, but I am entirely focused on Hisoka, who had his eyes rolled back again. I can't afford to lose concentration because of my state right now. If I knew something like this would happen, I wouldn't have chosen to straddle him. I pepper hands in my head, this is too awkward. Eventually, his bloodthirst calms down, and his eyes come back. He probably remembered that this isn't a deathmatch, though he probably wouldn't care about that in the first place. Maybe he wants to fight me another time. I hit the nail on the head though, and he surrenders, voice tinted in ecstasy. I get off him and stand up, looking at the sword lodged in the ceiling. I apologize to Netero about it and walk back to the audience. Pulling a peace sign, I smile. I won. I state proudly. Rio is hugely concerned though, and checks over my wounds, treating them. I smile sheepishly at Kurapika, who shrugs and smiles exasperated. Kurapika congratulates me, patting my back. We were getting worried there though, I'm glad you're safe. Honestly. Both you and Gon, you guys are taking years off my life with how reckless you both are. Rio yells, slamming both hands gently on my shoulders and shaking me a little. I am confused, though. I was reckless? I ask, tilting my head. At least, I didn't think I was since I was about as strong as Hisoka. At my reaction, both of them shake their heads, while Killua laughs. Rio shakes me a bit more, yes. You were. Hisoka looked close to doing something. Trailing off, he looks at me, bad to you, he finishes. I blink and Kurapika, closing his eyes, smacks Rio upside the head. When everyone settled, it was time for Killua's match with Pakal. Killua concedes indifferently, assessing and concluding that Pakal would be boring to fight. Hisoka fights Bedoro, and it was a one-sided match in favor of Hisoka. Bedoro, who was at first stubborn, is lying on the floor. He surrenders after Hisoka whispers something to him. Then, it is Gitaraker against Killua. Before the fight could begin, Gitaraker says, "It's been a while, Kill," and reveals himself as Illumi, his brother. Killua's eyes widen, shaking. He mutters, aghast, "Brother." "Hey!" Illumi greets with his dead eyes. Killua is sweating, clearly wary of his brother. Rio questions hesitantly, "Killua's brother? He used those needles to change the shape of his face?" Kurapika whispers in shock. Everyone is silent, looking at the two brothers. Illumi starts, "I heard that you cut up Mom and Maluki." "I guess," Killua says in fake bravado. The older brother continues, "Mom was crying. Anyone would cry if their son did that to them." Rio says seriously. "Tears of joy." Illumi finished. Rio falls over comically in shock. "She was so happy to see that you'd grown up. But she was worried about you leaving home, so she asked me to check up on you." "What a coincidence. I didn't know you wanted to be a hunter." "I'm trying to get a license for my next job," he says with no expression. "I don't really want to be a hunter. I just felt like taking the exam." Killua explains, calmer. I put my hands together, silently cheering on Killua. "I see. That's a relief. Then I have some advice for you. You're not cut out to be a hunter. Killua flinches, you were born to be a killer. You're a puppet of darkness, without passion. You don't want anything or wish for anything. As one who lives in the shadows, you can only feel pleasure when people die. That's how Dad and I raised you. What would you accomplish by becoming a hunter? Eyes shaking, Killua replies, True, I don't desire to become a hunter. But I do have something I want. You don't. Illumi counters. Killua shouts, clenching his fists, I do. There's something I really want. Tell me what it is that you want. Illumi states, Killua looks down, sweating, what's wrong? There's nothing you really want, is there? That's not it. Killua yells, I want to become friends with Gon and Lia. I'm sick of killing people. I want to become friends with Gon and Lia, to live a normal life. Killua admits with an anguished expression. I tear up a little. Illumi instantly rejects the notion, that's impossible. Killua grits his teeth, you'll never be able to make friends. Your only concern when you meet someone is whether you should kill them. That's how you were trained. Killua's eyes are shaking as he looks at his brother, you just don't know how to classify Gon and Lia because they're too dazzling for your eyes. You don't actually want to become friends with them. Illumi taunts with twisted certainty. You're wrong. The silver-haired boy whispered. The older brother continues his manipulation, if you stay with him, you'll end up wanting to kill him one day. You'll get the urge to see if you can kill him or not. Because you have the soul of a killer. As we mentioned before. Killua. I don't give a damn if he's your brother. Suddenly, Rio interrupts. I cut in, raising my voice, don't listen to him. You want to become friends with Gon and me? Are you serious? I already am friends with you, you idiot. Seeing Killua flinch, I put my hand to my chest, I'm sure that's also how Gon feels too. Really? Illumi questions indifferently. Yes, you idiot. Rio supports me, pointing at him. Illumi starts talking to himself, really? That's no good. She considers kill a friend, coming to a conclusion, he threatens, okay, I'll kill both her and Gon. Illumi takes out his needles, I stand on guard, a killer doesn't need any friends. They'll only slow you down. She's here, but where is Gon? He demands, walking towards the door. A referee tries to stop him but is almost killed. I stopped his attack, and seeing the precarious situation that is prevented by me, he stutters out the location. Illumi turns to the door and sees the four of us block it, starting to ponder his selfish problems aloud for everyone to hear. Bastard. Rio mutters. The elder brother questions Netero, if I wait until after passing the exam, I can kill everyone here and still keep my license, right? I narrow my eyes at him. Yes, according to the rules. Netero confirms. Did you hear that, Kill? Illumi says, pleased, you have to beat me if you want to save Gon. Lia is injured, so I easily take her out too, taking steps towards Killua, he manipulates, using Ren and taunts him, reaching out his hand towards Killua's head. Illumi raises his voice threateningly as Killua tries to take a step back, don't move. If you move an inch, I'll assume that the fight has begun. And if our bodies make contact, that will also mean the fight has begun. There's only one way to stop me. You know what that is. But don't forget. If you don't fight me, your dear Gon and Lia will die. Rio yells across the room, take him out, Killua. We won't let him kill you, Gon or Lia. We'll stop him, whatever it takes. Let him have it. His encouragement is futile. The years of manipulation on Killua is too deep, and he surrenders. Illumi is nonchalantly content at this, and laughing while patting Killua, throws out the words that he was lying about killing Gon, that it was just a test. I sense that his words were not a lie, though. Illumi is just twisting the situation his own way. Killua is left with lifeless eyes. Rio and Kurapika tried to help to no avail. It was the same with me. The nin used on him was too ingrained for my words to have an effect. Knowing what is going to come up, I pretend to take a drink from my water bottle, which had a full recovery potion in. Rio and Bedoro are up next. Before it could start, Killua gets behind Bedoro, ready to strike. I was one step ahead though, and instead, I took the hit, facing Killua. I look down at his shaking, guilty eyes. He rips his arm out of my body in a panic. I smiled gently, blood dripping from my mouth. It's okay. I won't die so easily. Your brother is lying. I raise my hand and pet him like usual. Leaning in closer, I hug him tightly and whisper, I'll come after you with Gon, so, take your time. I'll be okay, you haven't killed me. I'm sorry for my selfish actions. Letting go of Killua, I watch as he silently walks out of the room. People rush up to me, and the hunter exam ends with Killua's default forfeit.